Ich grüße alle Gamerfreunde und Ladies, die den Montag geschafft haben. Willkommen zu einer weiteren Runde Tales of Arise. Und wir werden uns tiefer in die verbogene Zone begeben, denn wir hatten letztes Mal einen sehr intensiven Käferkampf gehabt mit einer dämonischen Bestie. Schauen wir mal, was uns noch erwartet. Ich bin gespannt und los geht's. Viel Spaß. Sehr viel Story das letzte Mal, super interessant und sehr lang. So, wir müssen jetzt hier rüber. Hier sind nochmal ein paar Räume. Schauen wir uns erstmal den kleineren an. So, okay. Hier lang. Das ist doch der Raum, glaube ich, wo wir lagen, oder? Diese Scannerplatte. Trank des Lebens. Ja, das ist gut. Wir haben da jetzt 13. Ah, das ist gut. Ein Raum, der über 3 Jahrhunderte hinweg unverändert geblieben ist, so als ob hier die Zeit selbst stehen geblieben wäre. Vielleicht ist es ja auch passiert. Oh. Jetzt gehen wir nochmal auf die andere Seite hier. Oh. Mhm. Oh. Ja, definitiv die Energie für lange Zeit ausgelegt. Ausrüstung zur Überwachung der Testpersonen. Wahrscheinlich gab es auch einen Mechanismus zur Fehlerbeseitigung. Ja, dann haben sie die dann weggeschmissen. Traubengelee. Das sind irgendwie die Knotenpunkte. So. Zur Unterstützung, falls die Benachrichtigung nicht kommt. Hm. Wahrscheinlich nur von der Seite gescannt. Eine Nachricht, dieser Bereich wird jetzt geschlossen, da das Projekt in die Endphase geht. Ja, das haben wir in der Vergangenheit gesehen, dass das dann soweit war. Du siehst viele Zahlen, sieht nach Protokolle aus, über den Abgleich zwischen Testperson und Lenigis selbst. Aha, das soll wohl so verbunden sein. Können wir eigentlich noch was verbessern? Hm? Sieht nicht so aus. Oh doch, hier, warte mal, jetzt muss ich nochmal genauer schauen. Also hier definitiv nicht. Bei Shion auch nicht. Bei Law ist hier unten noch was. Erhöhter Nahtoderangriff, Elementarangriff, erhöhte Elementarangriffsstärke bei Nahtoderfahrung. Das nehmen wir auf jeden Fall. Und Dohalim. Do. Erhöhter Schaden bei Niederstreckung. Erhöht die Menge des zugefügten Schadens bei Gegnern, die niedergestreckt wurden. Ja. Nehmen wir. Zack, und da ist er voll. K.O.-Schutz, ja, das ist gut. Okay, alles klar. Na, wer kommt denn jetzt? Und eine weitere Vision. Was geschah? Oh, mit der Maske. Ah, okay. Das wirkt nicht sofort. Beruhigungsmaske. Ja, hat sehr gut beruhigt. Aber sie hat uns in dem Schiff zurückgeschossen. Oha. Was? Wie, das wissen die erst jetzt? Okay, und darum ist er halt auch so lange am Leben geblieben, durch die ständige Regeneration. Heilung. Mhm. Mhm, das hat sie auch gesagt, nur in einem anderen Zustand. Wow, okay. Ja, das stimmt. So ist es dann auch gekommen. Mhm. Aber was war denn das für eine andere Szene am Anfang? Wie als hätten wir hier wieder Feuerteufel gewütet. War das eine falsche Vision oder? Ne, das haben wir doch richtig erlebt. Oder doch nicht? Puh. Eike, ich grüße dich. Hallo, willkommen. Montag geschafft. Jetzt nimm Platz und entspanne. Danke dir für die Bewirtung. Wie geht's? Was Reinstein negativen Ton im Stream sucht? Meinst du den hier? Ah, da ist doch was. Hallo. Ja. Zum Glück haben wir Untertitel. Immer dahin gehen, wo die Fragezeichen sind. Oh, doch nicht so laut. Gehen leiser. Hast du denn alles geschafft heute? Konntest du alles abhaken? Gut. Es sei dir gestattet. Du hattest heute viel auf dem Plan. Okay. Mhm. Hier, für Katzen und Hunde. Oha. Geschafft, ja. Abhaken, nein. Oh, was? Gut, geschafft. Das ist schon mal schön. Ah, das sieht gefährlich aus. Wenn wir speichern. Wir haben immer noch keinen Händler. Sagen die Karte. Geh erstmal hier rüber. Ah, hier kommt bestimmt gleich einer. Kraftschmanker. Okay, das ist gut. 3000 hat er gebracht. Das ist richtig gut. Ah, warte, wir gehen mal so rum. Ah, also die Vision war auch richtig gut. Hier ist nichts drin. Kann noch irgendwas machen? Nee. Okay, jetzt, man muss immer noch mal ein bisschen gucken, ob irgendwas glitzert oder so. Weil das sieht man nicht immer gleich. Okay. Ah. Wo kommen wir hier hin? Das war vielleicht ihr eigenes Schiff und die anderen sind ja alle dunkel.
This place. We've seen this in one of Naori's memories.
Ja, stimmt.
Of course. After 300 years, this is where it was held. The spirit channeling ceremony.
Geisterbeschwörung,
This
naja.
is where the Renaissance was.
So this is the place where you and Naori...
The Renaissance isn't here now. Nor is the Red Woman, it seems.
I know it's difficult, Alphen, but there will be time to dwell on the past later. For now, we need to keep moving. Come on.
Oha.
Naori.
What is this? Is it the work of Dana's will again?
It's been a year since the ceremony. That day, I shut away inside of myself the power that caused Alphen to lose control. Since then, my visions of the future have grown more and more
Darum. Okay.
Is this another memory? No, it's different this time. It's like she's speaking directly to us. What we did back then. Not so much as a day passes when I don't think about it. About what was done to us. All in the name of a ceremony. the purpose of which we were never even told.
Ja, stimmt, das haben sie auch nicht erklärt.
The Sovereign. They linked Alphen's consciousness to Lennigus'
Das
soul.
Bewusstsein, oh.
The Renis Alma was intended to control his power, lest anything should slip
Aha,
through its cracks.
okay. Hm.
That day, as Maiden, my role was to temper his power. I was meant to guide it forth and give shape to the strength inside of him.
Linked to Lennigus itself? But then, everything that's been happening.
But that power showed me a vision. A vision of oblivion. When I realized that vision was a prophecy of the apocalypse we were about to unleash, I couldn't go through with it. But without a maiden, the ceremony was doomed. Alphen lashed out, his consciousness no longer his own.
Und dann ist er
I
durchgedreht.
did what I could. Using my abilities as the maiden, I tried to seal that power away inside of me. But it was too late. Lennigus had already been brought to its knees. Thousands upon thousands of lives so cruelly snuffed out. All because of me. Because of what I had done. With the destructive force now slumbering inside of me, I knew I had to find a way to dispose of it. Anything to make up for my failure. But I didn't know how. Especially since that power was astral energy itself. In which case, ironically enough, the Renis Alma seemed to be my best bet. That, at least, would hold the astral energy dormant. Assuming that no malevolent third party got to it first. With the Sovereign and Maiden's combined power, perhaps I could shift the chaotic energy inside me into the Renis Alma instead. That's what I hoped, but alas, it was not to be. The Renis Alma was lost. And Alphen, the Sovereign, was in a starship
Ja, den
bound
hast du
to
auf den Weg
Dana.
geschickt.
My only choice was to seal away the destructive force inside of me using my powers as the Maiden. To buy the world what little time I could. The time needed for a new Renis Alma to be crafted. And for a new Sovereign to appear. Even if by doing so, it meant I would be passing the curse on to my descendants as well.
Okay, die Dornen sind dann aus der eigenen Versiegelung entstanden.
Forgive me. I never meant to burden the future world with this threat too. I only wish that there was something more I could have done.
Wait, you can't just...
Ja, dann müsstest du ja in die Vergangenheit reisen und das ändern, damit die nicht die Dornen bekommt, dann die Nachfahren. Sonst, ja, oder die Linie endet eben. Also ich war an der Tagesstätte und dadurch blieb mir schon mal ein Telefonat erspart. Eins blieb erspart, dass ich jemanden habe, der den Hausmeister in die Wohnung lässt. Wenn er denn dann auftauchen sollte, wenn ich an der Tagesstätte bin. Ah, so, okay. Das Geld für die zweite Medikum bekomme ich auch erstattet. Ja, super. Es hat dann tatsächlich einen Irrtum gegeben. Super. Guter Irrtum. Ja, sie erst whatever hat vergessen, das Rezept umzudrehen und danach zu sehen, ob es auch dort was von einer der beiden Apotheken stand. Ah, okay. Wow, okay.
What?
Ah, wir sehen aus wie vor 300 Jahren.
These are the clothes that Naori and I wore during the ceremony 3 centuries ago.
So you're saying this is the Maiden's outfit?
That's right. These clothes are designed to resonate with the Sovereign and Maiden's abilities. They focus and enhance them.
And they appeared now because...
Naori must have left them here for the new Sovereign and Maiden, knowing the day would come when they would need them in their fight against the Thorns.
These outfits are directly linked to the answers we've been chasing this whole time. If they're here, it must mean it was Naori's will for us to find those answers as well.
Locating the Renis Alma would allow us to neutralize the dark astral energy inside Shion, thereby silencing her thorns. Is that what Naori's suggesting?
It makes sense. After all, Master Cores and Spirit Vessels are both able to prevent the astral
Ja, das
energy
Bewusstsein
inside
darf
them
nicht mehr
from
da sein.
developing sentience. By that logic, it would stand to reason that the Renis Alma would have the same ability on a larger scale.
We have a maiden in Sovereign. Now all we need is the Renis Alma, and we'll finally be able to free you of your thorns. Shion.
It's possible? You really think so?
I do. We can rid you of your thorns and stop the world from falling to oblivion.
However, the spirit channeling ceremony already failed once. Even if our goal is different this time, we can't be sure the same thing won't happen again. We should take care not to be too optimistic.
You're right. It's the barest sliver of a chance. But if there's even the slightest hope it can work, I'm willing to stake everything I've got on it.
I know it's too early to let myself feel relieved, but I just can't seem to help it. Just hearing there's the slightest chance, even though I know the world's still in great peril. It's selfish of me, I know, but still.
No, it isn't. You found hope to believe in. It'd be strange if you weren't over the moon about it.
Rinwell's right. We can rid you of your curse and still save the world at the same time.
Ja, das ist super.
Thank you. Naori entrusted
Beide
us
Seiten
with the
retten.
fate of
Hey,
all
Easy, grüß
humanity.
dich. Hallo.
Now, it's up to
Na,
us to
kam heute eine
prove that
Nachricht an,
trust was well
Benachrichtigung.
placed.
Oder hast du das im Chat gelesen, im Discord?
Starting with a
Status?
little game called
Wie
Hunt the
geht's?
Renis Alma.
Yeah, we've
Hast du einen schönen
come all this
Abend?
way. Now we just need to search Lenegis and Rena
Bist du
until we
satt?
find it.
Yeah, we can protect the world and save Shion at the same time.
I too shall lend my services. My knowledge of
Ich bin
Renis
nicht mehr
lore is
zu
bound to
retten.
be a useful
Was, wie kommt denn
asset.
das?
And they say modesty is dead.
Miracles just seem to follow wherever you go, huh?
Ist jemand Pflaumenmarzipan von euch? Ja, nein, vielleicht?
How do you know it's me they're following? We're all in this together,
Einfach so.
Shion. You included.
Hab deine Nachricht gelesen, aber keine Meldung. Ich habe gedacht, heute schreibe ich mal das Wort rein. Nur zur Sicherheit.
We had an apocalypse to stop.
Aber keine Meldung. Oh, wieder von beiden Seiten links gekommen. Oh, das ist so bescheuert. Das ist so blöd.
So Naori sealed away the power that made me lose control of myself. She stopped my rampage and saved my life. But then that
Ja, die haben schon
power
wieder so lange
shifted
geredet, dass das den
to you.
Bildschirmschoner aktiviert hat.
So sorry, Shion.
Genau wie bei Metal Gear, die sind ja auch ewig lang, die Sequenzen.
You're wrong. What happened to you was because
Na,
of
ist
the
halt
ceremony
spannend.
and Naori's attempt to stop oblivion. You paid a heavy price for it, and then fell asleep for 300 years. The reason you lost your memories,
Is the reason for your curse.
the thorns.
It all leads back to them. But once they're gone, we can finally put an end to all this.
When my thorns are gone, I never dared to dream that such a thing could be possible. No. The truth is, I think maybe I've always been dreaming about a life without my
Ja.
thorns. The touch of my family, or playing with my friends, holding hands with Rinwell, or giving Law a deserved snack, embracing everyone. All the normal things that people do together. I always wished I could experience them for myself and finally know what they were like. Is it really okay for me to believe it can happen? I'm so scared of getting my hopes up. What if it doesn't work out in the end, and
That's not
Ja,
going to
genau.
happen. I'm here to make sure it won't. Forget fate or destiny or anything else. We're going
Genau,
to
ist
live
alles Quatsch. Attacke!
a normal life. There are a lot of things you still want to do, right?
yeah,
Einfach so, ja.
You're right.
Essen ja, nur nicht mehr dürfen.
It's such a
Ah, ja,
strange
stimmt ja.
feeling.
Oh,
I
das ist so
know.
blöd.
that we've still got plenty of fighting up ahead. And it's for my sake.
Ich hoffe, das
So
geht
I
mal
can
wieder.
live.
You're worth fighting for.
Die sind echt lecker. Hab ich gar nicht gedacht.
I believe you, Alphen.
Good. I'll keep on fighting. For as long as it takes.
Ja.
Until our future is finally in our
Kämpfe mit
hands.
Verstand. Und mit Sportschuhen. Shion, die letzte Jungfer. Die letzte aus der Linie. Bin einfach nur fertig im Moment, ist alles. Und meine Nachbarn machen das übrigens. Ja, toll, die geben dann noch den Rest am Ende. Ja, das darf nicht überhand nehmen. Easy, ne? Dass dann dir nichts passiert. Musst du dann von allem mal Abstand nehmen. Das bringt sonst nichts. Und es wird auf jeden Fall noch besser, wenn du dann einen neuen Ort hast. Für immer. Dann können die machen, was sie wollen und du hast dann Ruhe. Ja. Ich könnte ja mal wieder Marzipan selber machen, Krügel. Ja, wenn du das dann so essen kannst, so, ja. Wegen dem Dürfen, ja. Ah, das kenne ich easy. Ich bin auch total kaputt vom Tag, ja. Ja, das zieht sich dann manchmal, ne? Wie soll ich denn das machen? Muss gut überlegt sein. Ja, aber wie gesagt, mal so eine, vielleicht mal so ein... Ja, so ein Wochenende Auszeit wäre schon mal besser für dich. So ein Tag ist ja irgendwie also, dass du irgendwie mal komplett ja, rausgenommen wirst, ne? Dass du wirklich mal nur Zeit damit für dich hast, ohne irgendwie, ich muss das machen. Ich hoffe, dass du das mal irgendwie zeitlich oder so hinbekommst, wo man sagt, ich mach das hier, komm. 2 Tage, schalt mal ab. Ja, dass das dann klappt. Das würde definitiv gut tun. Ja, das Wie müssen wir nur noch klären, ne? Ja. Morgen habe ich erstmal wieder Fußkontrolle, okay. Ja. Hoffentlich alles im grünen Bereich. Danach. So, jetzt haben wir was Neues bekommen. Die letzte Jungfer. Shion ist das letzte Mitglied eines... Naja, eigentlich Familie, oder? Eines 300 Jahre alten Jungferngeschlechts und will ihre Kräfte nutzen, um die Zerstörung von Dana zu verhindern. Plus Bonus Elementarangriff plus 40. Revitalisierung. All 3. 80. Ein fortgeschrittenes Heilungsart, das die KP aller Verbündeten wiederherstellt. Oh, das ist gut. HP-Wiederherstellung, wenn satt. Stellt die HP-Heilungspunkte wieder her, während Kocheffekte aktiv sind. In der ganzen Zeit werden wir geheilt? Das ist ja Wahnsinn. Erhöhter Wirkungswiderstand macht es schwieriger für Gegner Artes zu unterbrechen, die gerade gewürgt werden. Ja, das ist gut. Und hier haben wir noch was mit der Zeit. Reduzierte Wirkungszeit während einer Combo. Okay. Reduziert die benötigte Zeit, um einen Zauber zu wirken, der als Teil einer Combo ausgeführt wird. Längere Kombos reduzieren. Mehr Zeit als kürzere. Ah, ist klar. Haben wir jetzt ein bisschen mehr hier? Ja. Also kann man sagen, haben wir jetzt das finale Outfit an. So, Teil Atalis. Ein Schwert für den auserwählten Herrscher. Es entlockt ihm seine verborgenen Kräfte, um die Geisterbeschwörungszeremonie durchzuführen. Gam Atalis. Zeremonielle Kleidung, die dem erwählten Herrscher verliehen wird und ihm erlaubt, die enormen Kräfte der Geisterbeschwörungszeremonie zu ertragen. Lase Fiaquis. Zeremonielle Tracht für die auserwählte Jungfer. Sie kann Astralenergie hindern und wird getragen, um die Macht des Herrschers zu bändigen. Frau ohne Mauern. Boah, das sieht echt sehr herrschermäßig aus, sehr königlich. Boah, guckt euch das Schwert an. Oha, okay. Ja, das andere sieht natürlich zerstörerischer aus. Das sieht natürlich sehr elegant aus. Aha. Das ist ja auch die Heilungsfarbe von ihr. Oh, neues Bild. Oh, das sieht gut aus. Nice. Sehr, sehr nice. Das letzte Schnitzel knabbert. Lass es schmecken. Test. Ah, der Chat geht wieder. So, okay, ja. Ich esse heute gar nichts. Mir ist kurz... Oh, nee. Ich habe es gewagt, ein halbes Tässchen Kaffee zu trinken. Okay, also... Oh Mann. Ach, das ist doch Mist. Ein halbes Tässchen Kaffee und solche Auswirkungen. Oh. Also ich wünsche echt, dass es nicht mehr so schlimm, im besten Fall gar nicht mehr so ist. Oh, der Kaffeegenuss ist so eingeschränkt. Naja, kann ich nachvollziehen, easy. Nettes Buttermesser, ja. Damit gelingt auch die dünnste Scheibe zu schneiden. Das Mittag heute hat mir auch schwer am Magen gelegen. Sage, wenn du irgendwas mit dem Essen und so, oh, das ist echt schlimm. So, die verbotene Zone, geh noch tiefer in die verbotene Zone hinein. Wie tief soll ich noch eingehen? So, warte mal. Der Sockel, auf dem das Arenas Alma vor 300 Jahren stand. Jetzt verströmt er keine Spur mehr von Macht. 300 Jahre ist eigentlich ein Witz. Ist das hier richtig? Geradeaus, ja. Ja, wo geht's hier hin? Tiefen Teleportierraum. Okay, die Frau ohne Mauern, das hören wir uns mal an.
Sounds like this Naori chick had quite the big heart.
Naori chick.
Her position
Ja,
demanded
die
nothing
Chicks.
less. From the sound of things, she didn't focus on differences, least of all those between Renans and Danans.
Yeah. It was Naori who first showed me that
Gab
such a thing
veganes
was even
Chili con
possible.
Carne. Oh, vegan.
And then she saved my life by sending me back home.
Gardina, die Königin ist hier.
But she willingly stayed
Vielen
behind
Dank für die
Atlantis for
Bewertung.
the
Ich
sake of
grüße
her
dich.
people.
Hallo, wie geht's?
It sounds like she was quite the hero, all right. A truly
Na?
caring person.
It's as if walls meant
Du
nothing
bist
to
eine
her. The one
GTA-Profifrau.
separating the Renans from the Danans, or herself from others. She had no need for them.
Ja, hey.
She never had anything to break down in the first place.
Also du kennst doch das Spiel in- und auswendig, ne?
I think you may be right about that.
Das ist ja der
You
Wahnsinn.
inherited that legacy.
Wie viele Stunden hast du jetzt in dem Spiel verbracht?
Don't I know it?
Ich glaube, mit GTA wird man nie fertig, kann es sein? Wie geht's? Was macht die Kunst und die Gunst? Oha. Mhm. Ja. Na dann. Teleport ist immer was Feines. Mit Schutzschild. Ist ja Roleplay, ja. Klappt das dann mit dem Chat, mit dem Voice-Chat-Dings? Das funktioniert bei mir immer nie so richtig. Ja, meine Technik ist ja auch 300 Jahre alt, also von daher. Aber es ist schön, dass sich ein Game so lange fesselt. Also mein Limit ist Assassin's Creed Valhalla gewesen. Da war ich dann echt froh, wenn ich fertig war. Ja. Ah, schön, schön. Ja, ist mega. Okay, cool. Ja, durchmixed, ne? Jeder hat so sein Päckel zu tragen, ja.
We'll find the Renis Alma and the Red Woman inside, right?
Aber soweit geht es mir ganz gut. Montag überlebt.
After
Das ist ja schon mal
everything we've
was.
been through to get here, they damn well better be.
We'll probably be needing you to open
Alle
this one for
ausgebucht
us,
mit vielen
Alfred.
Sachen zu erledigen, ja.
Go for it,
Und
Alfred.
du kennst es ja auch. Das ist immer gut, wenn man mal abschalten kann abends. Sonst passt es. Oh. Immer weniger am Husten. Weniger, ja, das ist gut. Weniger Husten, ja. Bleibt mir ja schön alle gesund, so gut es geht, ja. Begib dich in die Tiefen der Verbundenheit. Wie tief soll ich denn noch reingehen? Irgendwann ist ja mal Schluss. Ein seltsames Wesen, okay. Ach, was ist denn das hier? Was? Was ist das für ein Gesicht? Okay, wir hören uns das mal an hier. Oh, warte mal, hier gehen wir zuerst hin. Ah, oh, das habe ich gebraucht hier. Ja, ja, gib mir die ganze Kraft. Ah, Dankeschön. So, jetzt können wir speichern. Ach, Gott sei Dank. Ja. Ah. Yep. Auf dumme Sprüche, deswegen im Bus gibt es einen Spruch meinerseits. Genau, richtig kontern. Ja, wieder nicht nachgedacht, ne? Mhm. Sei nicht böse, wenn ich heute nicht so gespielt. Nein, 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 um Gottes Willen. Ja. Das musst du dann nicht, ne? So wie jetzt in Abständen, wenn es gut geht, reicht vollkommen zu. Ja. Das verstehe ich natürlich. Kein Problem, ja. Genieß einfach die Gaming-Session. So, haben wir gespeichert? Cool. Berliner, was ist so dein nächstes Gaming-Projekt? Was hast du noch so geplant? Was ist noch so auf dem Spielezettel der Verschiebungen? So, jetzt aber. Seltsames Wesen.
We're a long way from the residential quarters now. It looks completely different.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, this place, it reminds me more of being back inside the wedge.
Except the Danon astral energy feels even stronger here.
In a portion of the city reserved purely for the Renin sovereign.
Maybe he just has strange tastes?
This place looks like it has been here for quite some time now. If its design were a matter of personal preference, we would be talking from centuries ago. Or perhaps even further back.
Ja, ja, Erkältung oder so, ja genau.
Still, this isn't the sort of decadence of taste spoken of in artistic circles.
Das gibt's ja immer noch, ne? Es ist ja nicht dann einfach weg.
Hold up, decadence? Artistic circles?
When a preference is indulged to its extreme, it descends into kitsch, eccentricity for the sake of it. I'd be happy to illuminate you further.
That depends. Does it involve you buying me lunch?
The void that art fills isn't the stomach, it's the soul.
The soul.
In that case, I'll let you know the next time my soul starts to rumble.
Now all we need is something to fill up the void inside your head.
Die Rinwell ist ganz schön frech. Naja. Aber die passen schon ganz gut zusammen. Oh, was kommt jetzt? Wird geladen. Bitte. Bitte Abo verlängern. Nein, das machen wir nicht.
Volron!
Oh.
He really was still alive.
And there's the Renis Alma. Then
Oh, dann ist die rote Frau hier in der Nähe.
channeling ceremony?
Wait, though. Something doesn't
Ja.
seem right here.
Once more, the powers must be united, born from the fire.
Was redet der?
The world does seek its rightful state.
Ach, der verkörpert die Dunkelheit und wir das Licht. Ah, ist klar.
At the shrine of the true sovereign.
What has happened to him? He's lost himself, reduced to a mere cog in a machine.
Hey, look! Over there!
Isn't that the Maiden's crest?
Oh, Shion, hau ab.
Can it be that this entire chamber is meant to act as a substitute for the maiden?
It looks like it's still running, but are we already too late to stop the ceremony?
If that's what caused Lenegis' transformation, then the purpose of the ceremony must have been to drain all the astral energy out of Dana.
But for what purpose? What could possibly need astral energy on that sort of scale?
I don't know. But whatever it is, I'll bet it's
Das ist
connected to
bestimmt,
those
wir haben doch so
visions.
rote Augen gesehen. Was ist denn das? Entweder ist es einer,
Regardless,
der sich verwandelt oder
I cannot stand by and let them steal Dana's energy.
der noch kommt.
That said, we should retrieve the Renis Alma. Because right now, we need that most of all.
He's not gonna lunge at us out of nowhere, right?
Not the time, Law. The Red Woman!
Ich wusste es.
So we finally found you. I have a lot of questions for you.
Wait!
What?
Ja, sind nämlich 5, glaube ich, ne?
They all have the same face? How is that even
Oder kann die
possible?
hier sich duplizieren? Ach du Scheiße, die ist voller dunkler Energie. Und jetzt haut sie gerade ab. Oder auch nicht. Und verwandelt sich, alles klar. Ach du Scheiße.
What is this?
Who the hell are they?
It can't be. Are they even people?
The hell?
It's hard to know for sure, but I think they're the true rulers of Rena.
Also sind es doch richtige Aliens. Sind ja keine Menschen. Rote Frau 48, ach du Scheiße.
They're not feeling
Die scheinen nicht besonders gesprächig.
It's no use.
Nein, heute bleiben wir stumm.
May as well be sitting ducks here.
Good point. Let's
Okay, was machen die hier? Irgendwelche?
out of hand.
Okay. Ach du Scheiße, wie viel Leben hat das Ding? Oh, wir hatten erst gestern so einen heftigen Gegner und jetzt noch so ein... Nein, nein, ich möchte nicht tauschen. Shion?
That'll bring you down.
Oh mein Gott.
Damn it. Out of amp. I'm all
another incantation ruined.
Das macht ja fast gar nichts. Was für Feuertricks hier. Heilung ist gut. Was machst denn du, Mann? Funktioniert nicht. Oh Gott. Moment mal, Moment. Schon wieder irgendwie komisch gedrückt. So. Ja. Achso.
Not in your dreams. Lunar corruption.
Ja, also dass die dann die Energie brauchen, um einfach weiterzuleben, oder?
Mega ray. This one's mine.
Okay, für Shion und Elfen ist auf jeden Fall viel, viel klarer in den letzten Zeiten geworden, aber wegen der Energie, das ist noch nicht so klar. Oh, ach du Scheiße. Boah, oh mein Gott. Gehen die überhaupt in die Knie? Ich hoffe, die anderen kommen jetzt nicht dazu, sonst sieht es schlecht aus. Heilung, warte, Heilung. Okay, die stehen nicht weit weg. Oh, drüber ausgewichen, nice, nice. Oh, warte, wir müssen Law wieder befreien. Wieder erwecken. Law, komm zurück. Ah, jetzt kann man Brecher. Doalim. Zauberkraft. Law, geh rein. Boah. Was? Schon wieder weggeschossen. Ach du Scheiße. Oh mein Gott. Hier, geh rein, geh rein. Warte mal, die schießen nur nach vorn, oder? Okay, bei dem Wirbel, ja, okay. Ah, das klappt nicht. Dafür sind sie zu gut. Ja, du kannst wirklich nur auf einen Fokus setzen. Shion. Okay. Rinwell. Oh, was ist das für eine Kettensäge? Wow, 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 Moment. Fläche. Ja, mach mal die Fläche. Ja, komm. Gut. Oh mein Gott. Yeah. Leute, ihr müsst ausweichen. Also entweder sind das echt 3 Einzelne oder nicht. Mann, Law, pass doch mal auf. Scheiße. Ja, jetzt muss ich selber aufpassen. Das wird natürlich wieder toll. Ach so. Ach so, sie hat sogar noch 20, ja. So, warte jetzt beim... Kann ich noch nicht? Jetzt geht's, okay. Wir müssen immer ein bisschen warten, bis es geht. Law geht nicht mehr. Den kann ich aber wieder beleben. So, jetzt gebe ich ihm nochmal das. Ein bisschen warten. Und jetzt nochmal für mich. Doalim. Ja, yeah, no. Okay, wenn es nur nach vorn geht mit dem Gold, dann können wir so angreifen. Okay, der Hälfte, ja. Wow, Vorsicht. Weg. Oh, geh weg, du Nuss. Okay, hier kann man ganz gut... Oh no, jetzt spammen die das die ganze Zeit. Ja, der stellt sich wieder hin. Das können auch Cyborgs sein. Niemand weiß es genau. Ich werde noch drauf gehen wegen VOR. Vielleicht reicht es dann auch aus, den einen zu treffen. Wenn die alle verbunden sind. Schutzschild. Wow, 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 wow. Ah, ich kann nichts machen. Wow. Wow. Weg, weg, weg. Okay, das war zu schnell. Oh, scheiße. Warte, warte. Ja, wir haben zu wenig. Wir müssen aber irgendwie zum Händler. Ja, komm. Genau, eat this. Shion. Vorsicht, Vorsicht. Kreissäge. Nein, 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 das kann vergessen. Weg mit deinem Zeug. So, Alim. Warte, 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 ich muss ran. Rote Frau. Und danach kommt doch bestimmt wieder Wollran. Da haben wir dann null Chance, wenn wir keine Ressourcen auffüllen können. Das würde ich dann wieder unfair finden. Boah, was ist das für ein Angriff werden? Holy shit. Kommt manchmal von irgendwo her geschossen. Der Freak. Tion. Genau. Das vergessen. Müssen wir richtig stehen. Okay, die beiden haben gesessen. Boah. Lass deine Kreissäge weg. Doalim. Ausweichen. Oh, oh, oh. Achso, Trank des Lebens. Ja, zu schwach. Zum Geier habe ich das jetzt aus Versehen gewechselt. Warte mal. Hier. Habt ihr noch eine Heilung? Oh. Oh, holy shit. Ah. Ja, schieß, schieß, schieß. Ich hau drauf. Vorsicht, Kreissäge. Oh, oh mein Gott. Ah, shit, shit, shit. No. Schutzschild. Ah, okay, warte, warte. Wie war's weg? Was? Ich habe doch noch welche da gehabt. Oh Mann, das war wieder knapp. Warte mal. Da. Geht das noch? Schaffen wir das noch? Was? Wieso komme ich nicht ran an den? Vorsicht! Weg, 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 weg! No! Warte, warte, warte. Das gibt's doch nicht mehr. Yo, beim ersten Mal. Das war richtig knapp. Ich dachte, die waren doch schon tot, dann sehe ich die Zahl.
Surrender! Fighting is useless now! Do you think it's really over?
Vorsicht.
Astral energy. Watch out! They've got something up their sleeve.
Ja, wenn sie verlieren, explodieren sie einfach.
What? It's self-destructed?
Alphen!
I'm okay. Just a little
Oh, Gott sei Dank. Ja, so unterschiedlich ist das mit denen.
You had me worried there.
Von den vorhergehenden härter.
Who said you could touch that?
Damn it! He's awake!
I should have thought as much. So you know this place? Naturally, it was built for me.
Was für dich?
We'll save that for another time. More pressing is how I'm
Ja,
going
wenn
to
der jetzt
take
loskämpft,
the
das
heart.
kannst du ja vergessen.
Even after all this time, you still insist on hating me? You cut me down. Sovereign or not.
Oh, wir haben den besiegt damals.
Pay for that.
Wie denn das?
You're obviously bluffing. You can't even move right now.
Really, is that what you think? Did you really think that such a petty device could hold me?
Are you going to claim it's because you're a ruler? Be it sovereigns or lords. In the end, they're all titles given by someone else.
Plus, what kind of ruler would spend all
Wie der
his
müde
time
ins Bett
chasing
kuschelt, der
Alphen,
macht das.
who happens to be another sovereign?
Idle
Diesmal
pride.
kommt dann eine gute
I
Nacht und
proved
Schlaf
my
gut.
worth
Mein
and
Körper
the
sagt, es
sovereign's
soll mal wie
powers
langsam
were
angehen.
granted to me.
Ja, mach das. Langsam ist er besser. Da wünsche ich dir auch schon mal eine gute Nachtruhe. Ich merke dann, wenn du abgedriftet bist. Mach das. Schlaf gut. Danke, dass du da warst und fürs Bewerten.
Yeah. There were countless. And every one of them besides me died.
All of those failed experiments, and they still kept going back to Dana. There must have been some vital reason their subject had to specifically be a Danan. Then there were the records we found in the library, for you and Volron. They were logged 300 years apart, and yet the data they took from you was exactly the same. Which leads us to a single conclusion.
Was?
Then you mean Boron was kidnapped just like Alphen? But then he became a...
300 Jahre Unterschied direkt? So lang? Hätte ich jetzt nicht gedacht.
Slave from Dana. Just like us. Isn't that right? Volrung.
So he posed as a Renin and caused all that suffering to his own people?
How could you? If you knew the pain of being a slave, why would you inflict that upon others?
Renin and Dana are meaningless distinctions. He and everyone else. That is all that matters. I will stand above all others and take what is rightfully mine, starting with this.
Oh, die rote Frau ist immer noch da. Ich wusste doch, es sind mehr als 3.
A red
5 waren
woman.
es, glaube ich.
Another one?
Give your master back on Rena this message. No one makes a fool of me. Let them know I'll make them suffer.
Was macht sie jetzt?
Don't do it!
Und wieder verschwunden.
Serenus Alva!
It's too late. We can't stay here.
We need to go. Alvin!
Tschüss, Wallrun. Schließe mich mal Ellis Aussage an. Ja, alles klar, macht das. Ja, aber hoffentlich nicht so lang, ne? Nur kurz knuddeln, ja? Besserung. Ja, okay. Sah ein bisschen schief aus. Aber richtig festhalten, das ist mega gefährlich, wenn man jemanden so fängt. Kann sie schnell mal mit vorbei sein. Nein, du wirst niemand mehr folgen. Du wirst jetzt hier drauf gehen.
Let's go.
Never forget, I am the one who devours everything, who answers to neither spirit nor man. My word is law. I am.
Ja, stimmt, der Grund wäre echt mal interessant, warum die nur die nehmen. Die anderen sind da so viel stärker.
Are you two okay?
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Is Volron... Have we finally seen the last of him?
We can
Ja,
but hope.
hoffentlich.
Those red women. What the heck was their deal?
Could they be the ones behind all this? The same ones who put those soldiers in Faria in a trance?
What? Those brainless things? Either way, they've done a runner with the Renaissance. Damn it, that's the second time now!
Whatever's stolen from us, we'll steal it back. The future's ours to protect. And right now those things are what's standing in our way. We can head them off at Rena.
Did you say Rena?
Wir machen echt zu dem Planeten? Oh, da bin ich immer gespannt.
A master of theirs holed up in the motherland somewhere.
If that monstrous form's their true identity, I shudder to think who they take orders from.
Yeah. There's a good chance it's...
Ja, ist auf jeden Fall kein Mensch.
That's for sure.
So this thing over on Rena, that's what's really behind all this, huh?
They have the Renaissance in their grasp already, so it's unlikely they'll have cause to return to Dana. I agree that Rena's our best shot.
Then we're agreed. Let's head back to the starship.
But seriously, I was not expecting Voron to actually be
So,
here.
jetzt haben wir Level 40, 41, 41, 40, 41, 41.
Yeah,
Die roten Frauen. 404. Noch irgendwie aufladen? Gut, hören wir uns das mal an.
I didn't see that coming about Volron. As for those red women, to think they were monsters all along.
Tell me about it. One minute they look perfectly human. Next
Gleich
thing
wieder
you know,
da.
they're not actually human at all.
They definitely weren't Renan or Danon. I'm not even sure language would get through to them.
So what were they then? Human Zoogle hybrids?
Is the most terrifying thing anyone said all day.
How about you, Shion? Doily? You ever seen anything like that before?
No, never. However, if they're the same as the red woman we've seen with Volron, I think it's safe for us to assume they understand our language at the very least.
I had just so much I wanted to ask them. About Rena and Shion's thorns.
Unfortunately, they blew themselves up before we got the chance. Why would they do such a thing, though? To take us with them? Or in order to keep something hidden?
Both sound plausible to my ears. They took off with the Renis Alma too, remember?
Yeah, they did. And the next time we meet them, we're going to make sure they tell us everything they know.
So, wieder da. Puh, okay, das ist ja ziemlich heftig. Kehre zur Fall Night zurück. Ja. Wow, wir sind richtig was abbekommen. Mal kurz hier schauen. Objekte. Ja. Alles verbraucht, was geht. Na, warte mal. So. Ich hoffe, dass wir unten nochmal an den Kreis kommen, dass wir das nochmal aufladen können. Bin echt gespannt, wie die Welt da aussieht. Wird wahrscheinlich so eine Kombi sein wie hier. Lenig ist Wahrheit. Hm. Okay. Sonderbereich. So, hat sich jetzt hier was gedreht? Nein. Eben, wie Galt haben wir denn jetzt eigentlich? Achso, 905. Aber das Schwert konnten wir behalten, das ist gut. Ach stimmt, der Energiekreis, da können wir gar nicht mehr hin, das ist ja zerstört worden, wo wir gesprungen sind. Wo wir Shion aufgefangen haben. Ja. Isu. Also hier ist viel Offenbarung gewesen. Fand ich sehr gut. Ein paar Geheimnisse sind noch offen. Zumindest die Erklärung steht noch aus. Hoffentlich kommt jetzt kein irgendwas mehr. Dann kann ich einpacken. Hier. Ah, hier ist noch eins. Das müssen wir natürlich mitnehmen. Sehr schön, okay. Volle Energie. Super. Gleich mal speichern. Achso, warte mal, das ist... Ab zu unserem Jet. Ja, Moment mal, hier können wir, glaube ich, springen, oder? Was? Nein, das können wir nicht? Ach so, wir müssen gar nicht ganz raus, nicht wahr? Ja. Na gut, ich habe jetzt gespeichert. Das werden wir schon irgendwie hinkriegen. Oder ich laufe einfach außen rum. Ja, außer hier. Das sind ja gar nicht wenig Gegner. Aber es ist trotzdem nicht ohne, weil wir gar nichts anderes mehr haben. Und das mit dem Schutzschild ist mega gut. Ah, die hauen aber immer noch zu. Schön. Rinwell. Ja, laut, dann müssen wir dazwischen rennen, was? Mann, ich bin gleich tot. Oh, danke für die Heilung. Wow, was ist denn das? Shion. Und die neuen Outfits, die machen uns ja auch stärker. Also Law hat eindeutig zu viel Energie, okay. Aber das nehmen wir natürlich mit. Der andere hatte schon grüne Füße. So, melde mich vom Date zurück. Und gute Gespräche gehabt. Ja, willkommen zurück. Also das Date wird sich nicht so schnell wiederholen. Danke für die Heilung. Schön drin bleiben. Jetzt ist Schluss hier. Nein, da ist noch ein Ritter übrig. Okay, gut. Haben wir gut gepackt. Frage lieber nicht, ja, nein. Ich lasse es. Ja. Okay, haben wir wieder ein paar gute Sachen zum Abgeben. Aber so konnte ich nicht gehen, oder? Das ist wirklich nur... Doch, es ging nur so. Ja, hier war auch diese große Gottesanbeterin. Seht, ob wir bei der anderen durchkommen. Du bist dort. Das ist noch offen, okay. Alles klar, hier hast du wieder bestimmt ein paar Wölfe. Oder du bist hier, ja. Oh, no, das ist nicht so gut. Okay. Ja, geh ruhig vorbei. Ja. Immer eins nach dem anderen. So. Yeah. So. Oh. Haha. Tja, das hätte nicht machen müssen. So. Öffentliche Parkzone. Nice. Das ist gut, dass wir noch auf den Planeten fliegen. Endlich wieder draußen.
What the? When did it get pitch dark all of a sudden?
The lights are all out. Think it has something to do with the explosion back in the Forbidden Zone? Doe?
Die?
You two.
Okay, sie ist wieder normal.
Varia, Avakir. Thank goodness you're safe.
Avakir filled me in about everything. About how I ambushed you all.
Ja, du hast uns diesen riesigen Käfer auf den
She
Hals
doesn't
gehetzt.
remember a thing. So she really was being controlled.
Aber sie konnte nichts dafür.
He told me about Tarnigan too. Is it true?
What difference does it make? What's done is done.
Stop casting me off, just for once!
Faria, not now. It can wait. Dohalim, Lenegus is in grave peril.
So I can see.
It's the city's core reactor. It's damaged. Some of the basic systems we've managed to keep online, but complete restoration's still a way off.
You're an elite technician, though. You can fix it, right?
If so, then what's the problem?
Panic's begun to set in among the citizens. Until now, whenever something like this happened, the Sovereign would issue a decree. But this time, not so much as a peep. Any longer and we run the risk of riots breaking out before we can get things back up and running.
Forget the Sovereign. I doubt you'll be hearing from him anytime soon.
What's that supposed to mean? Do you know something I don't?
Suffice it to say, the Sovereign isn't the kind of ruler we thought he was. That is, if he ever even existed, which is looking doubtful at this stage.
Are you out of your mind? Why, if people knew that a lord such as yourself was whispering such blasphemy, they'd...
There's no time to explain now. It sounds like we need to find a way to keep Lenegus from spiraling out of control.
We need to stop that riot.
But how do we do that?
Riots feed on discontent and unrest, right? So if we want to keep the peace, we just need to put people's minds at ease.
At ease? Like by letting them hear directly from someone they trust. That's it. Who's the highest-ranking person in Lenegus right now?
Lenegus wouldn't have a next in line. After all, you said the Sovereign rules over everyone directly, right?
Correct. The closest thing to an authority figure would be a lord. The only one left is... Ah, very well then. Avakir, you mentioned a few facilities were still online. Which ones?
Why hasn't the Sovereign said anything?
Please, won't somebody explain what's going on?
Is it over? What's going to happen to all of us?
Heed me now, fellow remnants of Lenegus. It is I, Lord Dohalim Ilkaris of Elda Menancia.
Look, up there! It's Lord Dohalim!
Hold on! He should be in the crown contest! Shouldn't he? Why isn't the Sovereign talking to us?
The Sovereign is seeing to other matters right now. In my capacity as Lord, I speak to you in his stead. You're afraid. As people so often are when faced with the unknown. I hope you'll allow me to put your fears to rest. The city's core reactor has experienced a malfunction. However, we have our top engineers attending to the matter, and things will soon be back to normal. I know that you feel abandoned, perhaps more scared and alone than ever before. But I ask you all to keep one thing in mind. You are Lenegus, not the Lords and Sovereign. The solidarity of its citizens is the mortar that holds it together. If we don't allow ourselves to be distracted by our differences, if we put our hearts and minds together and stand as one, I am confident we will find new hope. I would be honored to stand with you. Not as a person of loftier rank, but as another human being among men. I hope that you'll lend me your strength, for if we can persevere as one, I know a bright tomorrow awaits.
So, da ist wieder Tag hier in der Station.
Your speech seems to have done the trick. Looks like the city won't be descending into chaos after all.
I only pray the relief will tide the city over for the time being.
Ja.
What you said earlier, about the Sovereign possibly not even existing, was it true?
It's still too premature to say with any certainty, but I believe so. This whole time, this world we've been fed was a lie, built on nothing but falsehoods.
But it can't all have been...
I can believe it. After everything I saw in the Forbidden Zone, what they did to Faria, it's the only explanation that makes sense.
But what about hierarchy, Avakir? Authority? The very foundations of Renan society? How can we live without someone to guide us?
I'd say we found someone capable of doing just that, wouldn't you?
You? You can't be serious.
I have business I must take care of first. But once everything is over, I shall return. But not as your sovereign, nor as a leader the likes of which the people here are used to, I think.
But how else do you propose to rule?
I'm not sure yet. All I have is a feeling that here in Lenegus, a new dawn is on the verge of breaking. One in which people won't be judged by birthright or on the power of their astral arts, but on other things. More important things. Things like, oh, I don't know, musical talent, for example.
When I bumped into you after all those years, I said you were no different. But I was wrong. Truth is, you were always different. I feel like maybe now I can finally begin to accept Turnigan's death. To see a future.
Ja, die hoffentlich grün ist.
You go finish whatever it is you've got
Hoffnung.
to do. I'll hold down the fort here in Lenegus till you get back.
Thank you.
I guess you're not going to make it to Menancia for the foreseeable future, huh?
Indeed. Forgive me.
The people of Eldomenencia can look after themselves just fine. It's the ones here on Lenegus who need someone to guide them. Besides, with you leading the people here, it'll help spread the idea of coexistence beyond Menencia's borders that much faster.
Sounds like you're in it for the long haul.
How could I not be, after the second chance that I've been granted? From this day forth, I shall dedicate myself to the future inhabitants of this world. Though the memories of the departed shall remain forever in my heart.
Remember, you're going to be leading the people here, not ruling them.
True enough. Whatever would I do without you, Kisara?
With or without her, I suspect you're gonna have your hands full when the time comes. We should be heading back to the ship.
Ja, ab zum Raumschiff.
Awaits.
Der nächste Herrscher, okay. AL erhöht. Gut. Indem er sich der Situation angenommen und den Menschen auf Lenegus ihre Angst genommen hat, hat Dohalim sich von seiner Vergangenheit befreit. Abschussbonus Verteidigung plus 50. Bodenzerstörer, Arte 4, Dämonenschlag. Ein fortgeschrittenes Erdarte, das Steine aus einer Erdspalte heraussprudeln lässt. Verbesserte Heilungsartes, erhöht die geheilte Menge KP durch Heilungsartes. Okay. Erhöhter Schaden bei Niederstreckung, okay, das ist auch das. Und einfacheres, perfektes Ausweichen, Abwehren. Okay. Können wir sonst noch was machen? Aber hier. Erhöhte Boostanzeige bei Gegnerniederstreckung. Oh ja. Gut. Und wir... Oh, wir können mehrere machen. Was haben wir hier? Nahtod. Überlimit. Boah. An der Seite. Bockwellenhieb. Ich nehme das. Mit dem neuen Schwert, okay.
Looks like the people of Lenegus can rest easy.
I couldn't have done it without your words of encouragement, Law.
Hey, you're the one who made the speech.
I think everybody can share the credit here.
Ja, wie würdet ihr das finden, wenn ihr hier aufwacht und seht immer das hier so jeden Tag? So, für eine kurze Zeit wäre das schon irgendwie was. Aber sonst... auf ewig nichts für mich. Okay. Das oder das? Naja. Reise nach Rena. Warte mal, wo bin ich denn jetzt hier? Ach, da müssen wir mal gucken, ob wir hier irgendwie... Ich habe in meinen langen Jahren viel gesehen, aber ich hätte nie gedacht, dass am Ende ein Lord in Lenegus den Tag rettet. Es wird Zeit brauchen, bis die Wohnviertel repariert sind, aber jetzt herrscht in der Stadt wenigstens wieder Ruhe. Aber dennoch mit anzusehen, wie er statt des Herrschers die Verantwortung übernahm, vielleicht gewinnt er diesen Kampf um die Krone. Ihr seid so gar nicht auf dem neuesten Stand. Ja, das ist ja, wenn man immer nur blind allem nachgeht. Uniform, alles. Die sind ja gar nicht individuell, ja, außer hier so ein bisschen Rang und Macht. Es ist ja... nix individuell. Nicht gut. Naja, die kennen es ja nicht anders. Ah, ja, ja, ja. So, eigentlich was hier. Das ist das Schwert. Oh, das ist doch schlechter. Ah, das hätte ich ja sonst geholt. Ja, ich habe die Materialien. Nur das Galt fehlt. Megafauna-Knochen, okay. Ja, geht auch. Okay. Das fehlt und Galt, ja, alles klar. Na gut, alles klar. Dann muss ich jetzt eigentlich hier hin. Warte mal, wo ist denn das eigentlich hier? Hier muss ich hin. Wohngebiet 16. Warte mal, hier jetzt? Das ist irgendwie... Ah, okay. Also hier rum. Aha. Wie lange es so gedauert hat, das hier zu bauen alles. So, anderes Wohngebiet. Sein eigener Herr, ja, das machen wir, wenn wir angekommen sind. Aber hier sind ja auch gar keine Geschäfte oder Institutionen irgendwie. Das ist ja die Wohnsache und dann ja, wie gesagt, wenn man Sachen nicht anders kennt, dann fällt es gar nicht auf. Ja, okay. Ist sehr, sehr sauber. Das ist schon gut. Schon gut. Genau, hier. Ja, vielleicht braucht das Wesen am Ende die ganze Energie einfach nur für seinen Akku. Oh, das wäre natürlich sehr witzig. Abflug-Landebereich, okay. Hier. Ich glaube, die hatten hier unten gekämpft, die sind auch weg. Was ist mit euch hier? Wer hätte gedacht, ein Lord ist zur Stelle, um das Problem zu lösen, aber es ist wirklich sicher für ihn, fern von seinem Reich zu sein? Es ist gewiss ungewöhnlich, aber Lord Dohalim hat die Situation gut erklärt. Ich für meinen Teil bin froh, dass er hier war, um uns zu helfen. Hat sich ein Lord angeschlossen. Ich war überrascht zu hören, dass der Kernreaktor der Stadt da all den Schwierigkeiten steckte. Aber die Sache ist jetzt wieder wohl unter Kontrolle. Ja, bleib mal bei der Version. Ach, hier. Ja, das ist ein cooles Bild. Okay, in Blau. Blau, Schwarz und Weiß. Oder ist es nur das angestrahlte Licht so? Könnte auch schwarz sein. Achso, das wollten wir erst mal kurz hören. Sein eigener Herr. Herr und Meister.
In one sense, when all is said and done, perhaps I have been a slave this whole time too.
You, a Renan Lord? How do you figure that exactly?
I was complicit in the Renan system, bound by its values, resigned to being swept along, without the resolve to take a stand. And when I realized the severity of my mistake, all I longed for was punishment. A lord, and yet my first instinct was to place my fate in the hands of others.
I think I can relate. I couldn't stand watching my people bow and scrape their way through life, but I didn't know what else I could do about it either. The ability to think for yourself and be your own master, that's what separates a slave from a free person. At least, that's what Law's dad Zephyr used to say. Zephyr taught me how to fight. But in doing so, he also taught me how to live.
Even if it means stumbling along the way. If it's on a road of our own choosing, free of regret. Why, that's the road of freedom. Or, to put it another way, so long as his heart is compromised, even the loftiest of kings is no freer than a slave. I think I finally understand now. This Zephyr character sounds like he was a wise man indeed. I only wish I could have met him.
There's just so much I wish I could ask him, especially now. I wonder, have I been correctly carrying on the torch that he passed to me?
How long have you known?
Known what?
About the darkness I carry inside me. You seem to have been aware of it for quite some time now.
Why ask me now? What does it matter? But yes, I have. I've pretty much known that something was gnawing at you ever since we left Menancia.
So basically since the very start of our journey then. Just when I thought I couldn't feel more ashamed.
Leave the past where it belongs. We have no need for it now. You're forging ahead. That's what matters. If my brother could see you, he'd be proud.
Not as proud as he would be of his sister, I'm sure.
Well then, just as well it's not a competition, huh?
So, das Nestflüchter lassen wir aber jetzt mal. Das heißt, die wären ja dann auch auf ewig zusammen gewesen, ne? Damit die Macht unter Kontrolle bleibt.
I thought we'd find answers on Lenegis, but we just ended up finding more questions.
You can say that again. And now we have more problems to fix too. Like figuring out how to reform Lenegis.
That can wait for now. We've got more than enough on our plates to deal with as it is. Like figuring out who's really running the show on Rena.
Yeah. Which is why we're going to the Renan homeworld.
All the answers we've been looking for are on that planet. The person responsible for all this. The Red Woman and the Renaissance. The answers have to be there. Are we prepared to finally find them?
So, what do we do first when we get there?
We know nothing about the Renan homeworld or what we might face once we arrive. We should get a feel for how things are on the ground before we take any serious steps.
It's also entirely possible that the first thing we're going to face is an attack.
If we come across a capital, we should... What? Damn! The hell just happened?
Our course has been altered. The coordinates are pointing to a different destination.
What's that?
The ship's controls aren't accepting my commands. The engine is being shut down.
That's bad, right?
Quite bad. We've lost control of the ship.
Is all of this the Red Women's doing?
Are they trying to finish us off before we can land?
Everyone! Look there!
A flower blooming out of Retta?
But that flower looks like it's absorbing all of Dana's energy.
And it appears Lenegis is serving as a conduit for that energy to reach here. Could that have been its true purpose all along?
If that's true, do you think the people back on Lenegis are all right?
We can only pray that they are.
Damn it! Haven't they taken enough already? When is this going to end?
The Flower of Oblivion.
With everything that's happening, we need to get back to Lenegis. Is the ship still offline?
Unfortunately, yes. Even more so than when it lay dormant.
Can you fix it?
Starships are extremely complex machines. One wrong move while we're out here in space could very well cost us our lives.
So what? We're just stuck inside here, floating around? For how long?
I don't believe this. We've made it all this way, and now we're stuck here? We're watching Dana die before our eyes, and we have no choice but to sit here and starve to death?
Law, calm down! You're not the only one who's worried here.
Right. Sorry.
It's still too early to give up. There has to be a way to get out of this.
Alphen.
Now what?
The starship, it's back online?
No, this is different. Something is pulling our ship in towards it.
Ja, die Welt lebt und die andere geht drauf. Kannst du vielleicht wieder zurück transformieren? Das ist eine ganz andere Station, oder? Das sah jetzt ganz komisch aus. Okay.
We managed to get moving, but where are we?
It looks like Lenegis in here.
Do you think we might run into more remnants here? Or those red women?
Perhaps. Someone brought us here. The question is, who?
We haven't been ambushed, so that probably means they aren't hostile. Still, why would anyone want to bring us here?
Hey, Shion!
If they wanted to attack us, they could have done so while we were back on the starship. We should see where this path takes us.
Hm. Erkunde die Gegend. Hm, sehr mysteriös. Aha, okay. Vorher hören wir uns nochmal hier Nestflüchte an.
Kisara? Anyone at home in there?
Sorry. Did I look distracted?
Among other things. To be entirely honest, I couldn't tell whether you were smiling or frowning.
You were thinking about Dohalim, weren't you?
That obvious, huh? I was just thinking how good it is to see him moving forward at last. It was always so infuriating, knowing how capable he could be if he just put his mind to it. A prisoner trapped in a cage of his own self-doubt. But now, he's finally beginning to spread his wings. I'm happy for him.
So, then why do you look so sad?
Oh, I don't know if I'd say sad. There's a bittersweetness to it, I guess. It's good and strange, knowing that he won't be needing me anymore. It probably sounds weird, doesn't it? I have this massive worry off my mind. I should be jumping up and down for joy, right?
Must be that maternal instinct of yours at work.
Rinwell's right. You're like a mother bird, finally letting go as her child takes his first shaking and nervous flight from the nest.
A pretty big child.
That's one way to look at it. I wouldn't like to see Dohalim's face if he heard you say that. All this has made me realize I can't allow myself to become a prisoner of my own making like he was. If Dohalim can forge his own path ahead, then I can too. I won't be left behind.
Ah, Shion, just in the nick of time. Here, lend me a hand while I...
No!
What the... Oh, right. The thorns. My bad.
No, I'm the one who should apologize. I overreacted.
Again, Law? Can't you even go a minute without putting your foot in your mouth?
Seriously, it's fine. I'd rather that than people feeling like they're walking on eggshells around me. Besides, I'm the one who should be vigilant about not touching you guys, not the other way around.
Actually, I've been meaning to ask. Not being able to touch people, does it ever get lonely sometimes?
I guess I never really thought about it in those terms. It was either accept it for what it was or come undone. Before long, it was just part of my everyday reality. I think I even forgot there was another way to live. Which isn't to say I didn't feel alone. I did. Always.
So numb to your reality, you couldn't even recognize it as loneliness? I don't know how you managed.
It's fine. I know I'm not alone anymore.
But I can't even touch you. No way of lending you a shoulder when you're down? Even Alphen.
I appreciate the concern. Until I get rid of these thorns, I guess I'll have to put up with it just a little longer. But not forever. Alphen promised me that. Maybe it'll be soon, maybe it won't be. But either way, the day will come. And I'll be ready when it does.
Yeah, just hang in there. One day, we'll share a big warm hug. You'll see. I promise.
So, danach gehen wir aber weiter.
for games, Rinwell!
Oh, come on. How am I supposed to resist with you looking all jittery like that?
It's called experiencing feelings appropriate to the situation. You ought to try it sometime.
Yeah, but seeing you act all nervous, you're making me start to feel nervous too.
Oh, sorry.
Staying alert is important, but too much caution can cloud your judgment. Try to strike a balance.
Schön. Meistens sind es ja so 3 Sachen. Ja, ja, die Kisara. So, können wir eigentlich hier wieder gehen? Hm.
I still can't get over what we saw happening outside the starship.
Yeah, our planet's really not doing too hot right about now.
I've only ever seen Rena from the surface of Dana, so I figured it was just another round planet like ours. Still though, I never would have imagined Rena actually looked like that. And what's the deal with that giant flower coming out of it?
Beats me. I have absolutely no clue. It's so surreal. It looks like a broken egg or something.
Rena and Dana. We were taught that both worlds were spherical bodies that floated amongst the stars in the heavens. But to think that they lied to us not only about the Sovereign and the crown contest, but also the form of our own planet.
Dohalim.
Okay, who's the wise guy that summoned us here?
Someone formidable enough to bring our starship along with us.
They must be here somewhere. Let's find them.
Also ich habe schon die ganze Zeit geredet, aber nicht umgeschalten. Haha. Ich habe gerade gesagt, es wäre wirklich cool, wenn wir jemanden aus der alten Zeit noch treffen würden hier. Der da noch ein bisschen was erzählen kann. Das wäre cool. Okay, da hoch. Das ist aber nur der Gang, ja. Mhm. Und dann? Warte mal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nicht zugänglich? Okay, die geht. Die funktioniert. Drei Fragezeichen. Ah, rot. Ist hier irgendwie eine Kiste? Kann man sich ja sogar hinsetzen. Mhm.
This place looks a lot like that room we saw back in the Forbidden Zone.
Huh? What's that?
Oh, da ist jemand drin. Oh nein. Die rote Frau.
It's one of those!
A red woman in disguise. Or is this their true form?
So it was a trap?
Oder das ist die gute Version. Oder sowas. Ist ja nicht rot, oder?
It doesn't look like it can move.
Das ist bestimmt eine andere Version.
Tell me, are you the one who brought us here?
Ah, es reagiert.
That is correct. It is unusual for me to have unexpected guests these days.
It can talk.
What are you?
Hevrect 35.
Hevrect.
Hevrect 35. Is that your name?
Correct.
What is this place? No, wait, before that, just what exactly are you? Are you somehow associated with the Red Women?
Before I answer, I have a question for you. How did you all arrive in this sector?
We did not come to this place by choice. Our ship was brought here against our will, by a group of red women who can shift into the same form as you.
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat.
Aus dem großen Geist?
What do you mean, serve? Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
What did you do to us?
I examined your bodies. You have not been harmed in any way. Identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you aren't under its control. I see why they viewed you as a danger now.
Oh, goody. More riddles.
Rätsel sind gut.
Do you think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best chance at a ticket out of here. Let's at least hear it out.
Ja, hoffentlich der letzte wirklich ein echtes Wesen. Nicht so eine AI oder so.
We are Helganquil.
Sieht aus wie ein Auge oben links.
The red women you encountered previously are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Helganquil?
You are on Dake Phasol, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's great spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all means to extend my lifespan. As I have done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dana from this position.
A question. What is this Great Spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Correct. The Great Astral Spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena, one with its own will, a voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dana.
The voice of the Great Spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it without question throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this Great Spirit be the true Sovereign of Rena?
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Wait, back up. You're telling us this great spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dana? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dana back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegus. If Dana has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
Maybe not, but think about what you're saying. If Dana has a will like Rena, then that would mean that we've been controlled by the voice of Dana this whole time, just like these things.
Dana's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Yeah, but...
Let's assume that what Hevrect 35 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dana's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dana is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's Great Spirit. Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dana's is shared among all its constituents. So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The Wedge and Lenegus are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy. And the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state. As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dana.
Is that why the crown contest is necessary? So that the Great Spirit can feed off of Dana?
Indeed, and it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest. Had
Das ist
the
also
initial
die,
spirit channeling from 300 years
die
ago
Rasse, die
succeeded,
das macht.
all of Dana's astral energy would have been seized.
But the ceremony failed. Lenegis was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Renaissance.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling's success. However, recreating the Renis Alma required a vast amount of energy. That is why we turned to Dana.
So that was the real purpose behind the crown contest. An efficient means to harvest the necessary energy from Dana.
Ja, das haben wir alles schon erlebt. Wahnsinn. Was für eine Reise bis jetzt.
Nevertheless, you still haven't answered one of Alphen's original questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, Hevrecht 35?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain whether you would be likely to accept my request.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
I wish for you all to slay the Great
No.
Spirit.
I'm sorry, did you just ask us to kill your master?
I did. It is in your best interest that you do so, I might add.
What makes you say that?
Lenegis has entered the final stage of the spirit channeling plan. As we speak, Dana's energy is being harvested en masse and transmitted to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it will not be long before all is lost.
You're saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
Why do you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly? Is it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control? Why?
No. My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part.
Vengeance? For what?
In spite of our long service to the Great Spirit, our species is on the brink of extinction.
Okay. Theorie bestätigt.
You mean... you're dying?
At this stage, it would be wise for you to talk with the others. Ask them what you need to know. Once you have your answer, return to me. If you agree to help, I shall fix your ship.
Others? Just how many of you are there?
I am the only Helganquil who inhabits Dake Faisal.
Hey! Hey!
It's no use. I think it's done talking to us. Let's take a look around.
Das war richtig aufschlussreich. Schön. Finde die anderen. Also gibt es Dänen und Rennen, Renner und dann Elquaqua. Es scheint den Zustand von Hevrecht 3.5 zu kontrollieren. Viele Vitalparameter werden angezeigt. Aber der hat sich sozusagen digitalisiert. Alles irgendwie kombiniert. Ist hier irgendwie eine Kiste oder so? Kann ich hier rüber? Nein.
You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told us, right? I mean, it's practically blackmailing us into doing its dirty work.
To be honest, the conversation went on for so long, I'm not sure I understood all of it. How about you, Dohalim? Were you able to follow it at all?
At the very least, everything it said about the Renin Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, this whole chain of events comes back to astral energy. That being said, had we not previously
Was am
encountered
Anfang
the
ist,
will of Dana,
was
I
erst Z?
suspect I would find its story much more difficult to believe.
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dana completely destroyed.
But why? Astral energy is supposed to be a force that creates and shapes the world.
It doesn't
Durch
matter.
ist
I don't care if we're up
durch.
against an entire world or what its game is. We're not going to let it destroy Dana.
Right.
Was? Verstehe ich jetzt nicht gerade.
There is one other thing that concerns me. How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the
Helganquil.
Crown Contest are all part of a
So, haben wir
centuries-long
3
plan, it's
Parteien.
clear enough. But what about the Renans? How do they factor into all this?
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, Hevric 35 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil, we never did find out just what they are either.
Maybe it had a reason for keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even more going on. Maybe the others will shed more light on the matter. Let's find out.
Speichern, okay. Hoffentlich kommen die nicht als Gegner, weil wir haben ja gesehen, wie stark die sind. Das geht jetzt, okay. Freigeschalten. Ach, und das war zufällig genau richtig. Okay. Oh, was haben wir hier noch? Das ist die Station. Mhm. Es handelt sich um Dike bei Soul Baupläne mit einem zentralen Fahrstuhlschacht und mehreren kreisförmigen Bereichen. Mhm. Ja. Gut, da wir sowieso dahin müssen, gehen wir natürlich erstmal hier hin. Ja, das sieht sehr, sehr ähnlich aus. Ist auch niemand drin. Oha.
Who are they?
What is it?
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any
Schwarz?
humans from the outside world.
Are you a Renan?
Hmm? Oh, yeah, I guess so. The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you as much as we can. But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
What a weird guy.
He must have meant Hevric 35 when he mentioned that Overseer.
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dana and Rena, do you?
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Gut, kann ja auch verwandelt sein, aber... Nein, sind doch echte renäische Forscher, okay. Mit dem Aufseher die ganze Zeit treiben die hier durch das Universum. Uff. Der lebt ja viel länger als die, also wie sollen hier neue nachkommen? Naja, okay, gut. Da gäbe es eine Möglichkeit. Wollen wir erstmal hier die Tafel. Eine scheint dauerhaft überwacht zu werden, um sicherzustellen, dass sich Teil nicht nähert. Kann man den Stern hier sehen? Geht es? Wird es angezeigt? Ich bin mir da manchmal nicht so sicher. So, wir fragen erstmal den hier.
Do you know anything about a spirit channeling plan?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you know what its main objective was?
Yes. It was to use Lenegis to siphon off Dana's astral energy and send it to Rena.
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. First was how to collect and send such a large quantity of astral energy without it becoming sentient. Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dana's energy so it would be compatible with Rena.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner! However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied. The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renans in Helganquil that day.
Oha, die hat er auch umgebracht.
For the next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark astral energy types. To amend that, we set our sights on Dana and implemented a system whereby we could extract energy from it.
And the crown contest began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid further mishaps. A new Sovereign had to be made as well. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things, it would appear such worries were unfounded.
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from Rena?
Flower? Oh, that thing. That's the physical manifestation of all the astral energy that's been harvested from Dana. As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's planetary structure.
Hevrecht 35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final stage. Is that true?
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes, and yet here we are. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss anything that's about to happen.
He talks like the potential end of the world is just another day on the job.
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here for a long time. Who knows what shape their minds are in?
Ja, die Welt geht unter, für andere ein Spektakel, für andere das Ende. Bislang sind die Dinge auf Dana genau nach Plan verlaufen. Ich fühle mich geehrt, den letzten Stufen eines Ereignisses beizuwohnen, das generationenlang vorbereitet wurde. Ich bin gespannt, wie es endet. Tja, Generationen.
Have you guys lived up here in Deg Faisal with Hevrecht 35 for a long time?
Yes. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head just how long it's been, though. We regularly go into stasis, so our sense of time has gotten rather out of whack over the years.
Why are you all even here in the first place?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegis from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an accident.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire facility had been destroyed.
And you've been working for Hevrecht 35 ever since?
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it turned out the Overseer was there all along.
What do you mean?
The Helganquil have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans. As long as they don't do anything obvious, a Renan won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Which would explain why Shion and I failed to notice the Red Women previously. Do they employ an astral art of some sort?
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what I understand, the type of cloaking they use is primarily achieved through mechanical means. In addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control to get us to do what they wanted without being detected. It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids any unnecessary conflict. I have to imagine that's how Lenegus is still run.
But aren't the Helganquil themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected by it in the same way?
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquil, so they had to employ other means to manipulate us Renans.
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell at their deceptions.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened so long ago.
Hevrek 35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegus? Our ship is going to be fixed pretty soon. You could ride with us.
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright. After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. We've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here and watch everything unfold instead. Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't extend its life any further. That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it passes on, though.
Thank you for answering our questions.
Definitiv interessant. Der Aufseher und ich führen viele belebte Debatten zu einer ganzen Reihe von Themen, Politik, Philosophie, Wissenschaft. Ich genieße sie stets. Als Angehörige anderer Spezies sind unsere Blickwinkel so einzigartig, dass es intellektuell anregende Gespräche sind. Ich gehe davon aus, dass auch der Aufseher sie genießt. Sie sind ein exzellentes Mittel, um der Monotonie in Dyke-Fire-Soul zu entfliehen. Das ist gut. Gute Gespräche. Oh, wie sieht's bei dir aus? Lass mal hören.
Can we talk to you for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helganquil.
You mean the Overseer's species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters, where'd they come from?
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse me?
Oh, I thought the Overseer explained everything.
Apparently not.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Danans by the Helganquil.
Was?
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't, but there are Helganquil. That's what the name literally means in their language, people of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce.
Ja.
I trust you're aware that the Helganquil are on the verge of extinction.
Habe ich ja gesagt.
In essence,
Also theoretisch,
we were
ja.
created to carry on their work for the Great
Bestätigt.
Spirit after they all die. They gathered Danans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there. That's why we, as their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Danans that the Helganquil kidnapped?
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use Astro Arts on Dana now.
Helganquil technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your conventional surgeries. They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible which they
Nanomaschinen?
insert into their bodies and...
Enough. You needn't tell us anymore.
How can you speak so calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound grotesque. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it. Anyway, the Helganquil are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth knowing.
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
Does he really expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed? How absurd.
Dohalim.
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all,
Ja,
new
stimmt, hast
revelation
recht.
smacks us in the face.
Then let's hope this is our last revelation for a while.
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down. Is there anything we know that's still true at this point?
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the Helganquil, let alone the Sovereign and Maiden stuff.
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to say that we've found the answers we've been looking for. Does everyone agree?
Agreed. Though I'll admit that I never expected it to all boil down to Rena's great spirit being behind everything.
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of astral energy.
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took control of the Helganquil. Then the Helganquil created the Renans, who went on to invade and rule over the Danans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans as well is likely because they were originally Danans all along.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much, even. We should probably take it easy and rest our minds a bit. Why don't we all take some time to think things over, before we decide on our next move?
That's a good idea, Kisara. If the Renan Great Spirit really is behind all this, then we've got a really big fight ahead of us. Because it's not just Dana on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do this, we need to be completely sure of ourselves. So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in any immediate danger, so we should be okay. You sure you don't want to be alone right now?
I could ask you the same question.
I figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking around and checking up on everybody.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested to hear what's on everyone's minds too.
Sounds good. Let's go find them.
Everyone's just gone their own way, huh?
Yeah, let's hit up each spot.
Das ist echt spannend, okay. Was für eine Offenbarung. Die Schöpfergabe, die die Helganquil aufweisen, erstaunt mich jedes Mal aufs Neue. Ob Zeugel, Pyrenäer oder alles andere. Ich vermute, dass unser Eins viele Generationen braucht, bevor wir ihr Niveau an Expertise und Kultiviertheit erreichen. Oh. Dadurch können die Astralmagie nutzen. Oh, wo kommst denn du her? Hallo? Himmelsbasis, erkundige dich nach... aha, Was macht denn die Energie? So. Das hält dann noch ein bisschen. Haben wir noch ein bisschen Zeit? Ja, ein bisschen kommen noch. So, gut, dann fragen wir noch hier durch. Kisara. Hier ist noch jemand anders. Der Plan zur Geisterbeschwörung wird bald endlich vollendet, da der Aufseher nun das Ende seiner Lebensspanne erreicht. Nachdem er sich bereits unzählige Male in einen Ruhezustand versetzt hat, war dies abzusehen, um es vorsichtig auszudrücken. Was machen wir, wenn das Projekt vorüber ist und nichts mehr für uns zu erforschen bleibt? Wir beobachten weiter, solange es Dinge gibt, die es zu beobachten lohnt. Wenn unsere Zeit gekommen ist, werden wir wieder zu nichts. Ein passendes Schicksal für diese Station und ihre Bewohner, indem sie in den Kosmos entsandt wurden. Ach hier, ja, schön. Großer Kaffee. Haben die Renäer auf Lenegis die Kontrolle über ihre Zeuge verloren? Es wäre angesichts der ganzen Astralenergie dort nicht unplausibel. In dem Fall wurden wohl die Artes, die sie im Zaum hielten, gestört. Ich bezweifle, dass es andernfalls das Werk des großen Geistes war. Ich stimme zu, es ist schwer vorstellbar, dass ein derartig riesiges Bewusstsein ein so lokales Phänomen aushecken und bewirken würde. Mal sehen, wie das aussieht. Ob wir die roten Augen wiedersehen. Heilung, ja. Ihr habt mich wieder zusammengebrochen, vorgefunden und mir aufgeholfen. Das weiß ich zu schätzen. Dank euch kann ich weiter forschen. Glückstrank. Ein euphorisch machendes Gebräu, das demjenigen, der es trinkt, Glück bringt. Erhöht die Bonusanzeige der Kampfserie. Ja. Können wir reinwerfen und gleich neues Emblem. Shion, Göttin der Güte. Okay. Ein Beweis der vielen Verletzungen, die Shion bereits geheilt hat. Mit der Zeit begannen die Menschen, sie als Göttin zu verehren. Abschussbonus, Elementarverteidigung plus 40. Wässriger Stoß lässt Lichtstrahlen vom Himmel regnen. Okay. Reduzierte Art der Wirkungszeit während einer Combo. Reduziert die benötigte Zeit, um einen Zauber zu wirken, der als Teil einer Combo ausgeführt wird. Längere Kombos reduzieren mehr Zeit als kürzere. Verbesserte Heilungsart ist. Okay. Und das gehört auch zu den anderen. Achso, wir sind jetzt hier nur zu zweit. Sicheren Tritt finden. Na gut, fangen wir mal an mit Rinwell.
You both seem awfully calm.
Only because after everything we've seen, we don't have the energy to keep being shocked.
How are you holding up, Rinwell? That whole talk about the Renans looked like it shook you up a bit.
Yeah. I get this sinking feeling whenever I remember how Danon mages like my family were persecuted and died out. And now, I finally know why that is. But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Danons again, then mages won't be such an unusual thing to see on Dana anymore, right? I know it's not as simple as all that, but Danons probably won't be so quick to let their guards down, and there might be Renans who still act superior because of their arts.
It wouldn't surprise me. 300 years of bad blood and prejudice isn't going to be an easy thing to overcome.
Yeah, I know firsthand just how much hatred can take hold in your heart once you let it in. But even so, I was still able to change. And if I can change, so can anyone else. So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I could use my position as both a Danon and a mage to help bring both sides together.
Rinwell.
That great spirit worries me too, though. Dana's will feels so warm and inviting. So why is Rena's will trying to destroy our entire planet?
Now that you mention it, Everett 35 and the other scientists here never really brought that up. Maybe they don't know either.
Maybe. But regardless, at the end of the day, Dana's still our home. There's no way we can let it be destroyed.
We won't. We'll keep it safe no matter what.
Ja, wir versuchen das. Ich hoffe, es kommt irgendwann der Tag, an dem Magier so normal sind wie alle anderen in Dana. So, Kisara, wie sieht's aus?
Oh, it's you two. Does he seem like he's doing any better now?
He who? Oh, you mean Dohalim, don't you?
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it all, but he looked like he was taking it really hard earlier.
What do you think about everything we've learned? About the Renans and the Great Spirit and all that?
On some level, I'm not even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, the Great Spirit is like a huge natural disaster, but with a mind and will of its own. But if that thing's hellbent on trying to destroy our planet, then the only thing left for us to do is stop it. As for the Renans, I suppose my feelings on that are a bit more mixed.
How so?
Coexistence between Danans and Renans in Menancia is still a work in progress. In my case, I think that's partly because deep down, I was still on guard around Renans. So, to be told that they're like us, that they're actually just like us is, well, I guess it's a little deflating, to be honest.
You kept a pretty level head.
You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, the Helganquil and the Great Spirit are the ones who are responsible. But at the same time, I realize that not every Danan is necessarily going to believe that either.
I know you're already aware of this, but the list of grievances the Danans have against the Renans is long, and understandably so. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same, yeah, I don't think they're going to take to it too kindly.
Even just among the Danans, I'm sure there'll be some who emerge with power and some who won't. I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance, then we'll be in a truly good place.
Well, first we can try to figure out what to do about the existing conflicts we have.
Yeah. It'd be nice if one day people could learn to get past their hatred like Rinwell did.
It's no small task. We can't pretend like the past didn't happen and ask people to forget their very real pain and suffering.
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do. But if we just keep yelling at each other about it, we'll never move on. In a worst-case scenario, it might lead to even more people getting killed.
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway. Not just that, but to also embrace each other's pain, in a sense.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
It's true. Everybody has their own scars, their own trauma. The first step to healing those wounds is to put aside that hatred. It won't be achieved through reasoning, but I think it's a good first step, if nothing else. And now, I think I see a way to move forward. But to do that, first we need to make sure our planet isn't going to get wiped out.
Ja, das wollen wir natürlich auf jeden Fall verhindern, dass das nicht passiert. Jetzt sollten wir darüber nachdenken, wie wir mit dem Schmerz umgehen, den wir alle fühlen. So. Noch zu den anderen. Mhm. Was ist mit dem hier? Ich frage mich, ob Danea noch immer keine eigenen Nachnamen erhalten. So roh diese Taktik auch ist, sie ist effektiv zur Unterwerfung. Wobei wir nicht so verschieden sind. Sie mögen klangvoll wirken, aber Nachnamen sind bloß Mittel, die formale Herkunft eines Einzelnen auszumachen. Abgesehen von den unvorhersehbaren Entwicklungen in Lenegis verlief alles recht reibungslos. Selbst wenn wir solche Deviationen bemerkten, würden wir sie vermutlich ignorieren, da uns unser Leitbild als Beobachter das Eingreifen untersagt. Ja, nur beobachten, nicht eingreifen, ja. Das machen die ja immer so. Als Lenegis aktiviert wurde, wurde auf die Sicherheit der Einwohner von Wohnviertel offenbar kein Gedanke verschwendet. Nicht, dass es eine Rolle spielen würde. Nach Veränderung des Plans ist Lenegis nutzlos. Es ist nur logisch, dass es dringendere Anliegen gab. Ja, aber wenn du dort gewesen wärst, ja, wäre es auch nicht wichtig gewesen. Ja, da sagt er nichts. Der Aufseher muss so erfreut sein, dass er die Transformation Danas mit ansehen darf, bevor er das Zeitliche segnet. Ja, man weiß, wie viele Millionen Jahre alt er ist. So, fangen wir mal mit Doalim an und dann zuletzt Law.
I apologize for making you witness that.
You mean hearing the origins of the Renans?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be indelible fade away in mere seconds.
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard here is actually true.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie, it's a rather elaborate one. I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this, ever since your memory returned, Alphen. And you as well, Shion. About your thorns, and being a maiden.
That's just part of being alive, don't you think?
To say the least. But enough about me. I'm not concerned for myself. What concerns me is all of the other Renans out there.
When you say the other Renans, you mean the ones that are living on Lenegis or Dana, right?
Correct. Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dana, our problems will still remain. Putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there, we will have to think long and hard about where it is that we wish to return to.
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis, or come down to Dana, huh? And right now, Lenegis might not even be a safe option.
And at the same time, Danans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. If the issue is forced, things could turn dire. There is, after all, 3 centuries worth of hatred to overcome between us. And the victims of our rule have absolutely every right to feel animosity towards us Renans. Our own circumstances as the aggressors are irrelevant.
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia to be so down about people reconciling.
Menancia's fate was a stroke of good luck. There had been backlash over how it had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers among my ranks. Still, even now, there remain ardent dissidents.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way. Isn't that what you hope to achieve on Lenegis, after this is all over?
Indeed. I have fully accepted the burden of that responsibility. In that regard, I remain determined. On that note, I have something of a favor to ask of you, Alphen.
Oh? What is it?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator, so that the Renans can live on Dana peaceably. As the one and only Blazing Sword, I suspect the Danans may listen to what you have to say when problems arise.
And I take it that you'll be the one to represent the Renans?
Yes. I realize that I'm asking quite a lot of you. However, the fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter Danan society without any bloodshed. That is why...
You're the same as ever, Dohalim.
Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and formal when you're asking for a favor. Listen, there's no need for that. We're friends.
You're too kind. I can see you were raised well.
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again, this time just as friends. Alphen, will you help me?
You don't even need to ask. Of course I will.
Thank you, my friend.
Also voll schön. Ein super Team. Okay. Es liegt bereits ein langer Weg hinter uns und doch bleibt noch so viel zu tun. Danke für deine unermüdliche Unterstützung. Alphen. Ja, das gebe ich direkt an euch weiter. Vielen Dank. Das darf man nicht vergessen. Hier.
I still can't believe it, man.
You're not the only one still trying to make sense of all this. Believe me.
Really? You've never struck me as the type of guy to get hung up on these sorts of things.
Did you forget what happened back in Thistleum? Once my memories started coming back to me, I felt completely and totally lost.
It was really that bad for you?
Yeah, it was. But thanks to Law and everybody else, I remembered that I still had things out there worth fighting for.
Man, I think you might be a better guy than me, Alphen. All I can remember thinking was, when's this guy gonna get his act together?
Law.
I was too worried about repeating the same mistakes I'd made back with my dad, and running away from the truth. That was no way to live, and I've tried to stay strong, my way. But all this talk about other races and the world ending, if I can be honest with you guys, it's just all too much for me to handle right now.
I know this is going to sound strange coming from me, but maybe the key is not to worry too much about the big stuff right now.
Oh?
I used to worry all the time about my thorns, for obvious reasons. But I never really opened up.
So, morgen dann das Finale.
And when I realized my visions pointed to a
Sieht gut
threat that was
aus,
bigger than me,
dass morgen das Finale
I
kommt.
didn't know what I should do or who to tell.
Also maximal bis halb mache ich noch.
But that's when I finally got
Dann
it.
ist der Akku alle.
You guys were all there for me, to teach me what's really important. I just had to open up and listen.
Ja, wenn es nicht noch
In other words,
andere Planeten dazukommen oder Stationen, könnte es morgen fertig
you'll
werden.
begin to lose sight of what you really care about. Yeah, I think you're right.
The thing that's most important, what I really care about. All I want to do is protect the people that really matter to me, to fight for them. That's good enough, right?
Not everyone is strong enough to fight.
Huh?
It's something your dad told me once when he was still alive. Law, you know you're strong enough to fight, and you're strong enough to protect the people you care about. Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't lose sight of what you want to protect in the first place. Sound good?
Yeah, I think it does. It's like a big weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I'll fight to protect the people around me. Just like I always have. I think that's best.
Well, it sounds like everyone's learning from their past and using it to create a better future for everyone.
What about you, Shion? How do you feel about the origin of the Renans?
To be honest, I'm not really all that shocked, actually. I mean, I might be a Renan in the literal sense, but I've never really felt like one of them. Right now, it's kind of a mystery.
How do you mean?
Because for a really, really long time, all I ever thought about was how I was going to die. Not if or when, but how. I thought I'd die alone. That fate had me in its steely grip. I would have never imagined that I'd be traveling with someone like you, fighting to save Rena and Dana. I mean, how could I have? It's been going on for 300 years. All this tragedy and destruction. When you consider the Helganquil's part in all this, it's been even longer than that. It was Naori's hope that somehow, someone in the future would be able to stop it, before it was too late. How it fell on us, of all people, to heed that call, is a mystery.
I don't think Naori was hoping that we would just stop the world from getting destroyed. She considered me, a Danon, as a real person. And she very much cherished her own people, too. I don't think she wanted the world to be saved, just so they could go back to hurting each other. Oh, maybe this is what she meant.
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier, about all that stuff like everyone's needing to meet halfway and embrace each other's pain and suffering. She said that the first step down that path was for each of us to put aside our own hatred. That means forgiving other people, even and especially before they forgive you.
Forgiving. So it goes both ways, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I don't just mean forgiving things that happened in the past either. Conflicts will keep happening. If we have any hope of moving on and building a better future, we have to all learn to forgive each other.
You know, you're right. People can hurt one another without even meaning to. I know that better than most, thanks to these thorns.
It's not going to be easy getting past this pain. But if we can do it, I'm sure there'll come a time when we can all truly understand each other. I'm there with you, Shion. I too want to protect the world we live in, and all the people we care about. I think that's the very least I can do to repay Naori for everything that she did.
Yeah. I want a future that she would feel proud to live in, and I'm going to fight for it.
Whoa there, Savior Girl. We're here to save you too, you know.
Yes, I know. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I want to live, and that's the honest truth.
Well, is everybody ready to do what needs to be done?
I am. There's a lot to think about, but at the end of the day, Dan is still in danger. I don't care who we're up against. We'll kick their ass.
What are your thoughts, Alphen? I want to know what's on your mind, too.
Like Law said, if we have to fight the Great Spirit on Rena, then so be it. It's trying to rob us of our entire world, and it's going to take not just our home, but all of existence along with it. That alone is enough to make it our enemy. But it's not only that. One way or another, I think beating the Great Spirit is going to be tied to us saving Shion.
You're saying there's a chance?
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw in Lenegis, I take it?
Yeah. 3 centuries ago, the astral energy that appeared at the spirit channeling ceremony showed Naori that vision. And to hear Shion tell it, it's the same one that she sees from her own thorns as well.
Indeed. Shion's thorns are comprised of dark astral energy, the one type which we know is native only to Rena. And if Rena's great spirit is what's behind Dana's pending destruction, then...
Shion's thorns are the Great Spirit? It's not actually on Rena like we thought?
We don't know anything for certain. At the very least, though, I think it's possible her thorns are a part of the Great Spirit.
While the main body resides in Rena.
Shion.
If these thorns really are a part of Rena's great spirit, I'm going to go over there and give it a piece of my mind and then some.
The question is, how do we confront it? Suffice it to say, that flower growing out of Rena is enormous, large enough to house the will of an entire planet. The Wedge and Lenegis were both hard enough for us to overcome in their own right. This is an altogether greater challenge for merely 6.
And we only know about the Thorns connection thanks to Naori.
Hevric 35 has been observing the Great Astral Spirit this whole time. It wouldn't ask us to fight it unless it has a plan of some sort. Let's go see what that is.
Okay.
Our minds are made up. Let's go give Hevric 35 our answer.
Waren wir denn jetzt schon in allen Ebenen? Also. Mhm. Ja, hier ist noch Fragezeichen, hier waren wir noch nicht. Letzte Ebene. Oh. Aussichtsplattform. So, ich dachte, das sind die Siegel der Häuser. Boah. So weit weg sind wir. Was das hier für Möglichkeiten sind für Leben auf Planeten. Schon nur der Bereich hier. Was sind das Buchstaben hier? D, E 86 oder so. Hier ist ein Gesicht. Das ist schon irre. Super spannendes Thema. Ja, okay. Hier haben wir noch was. Lenegis früher. Und dann gehen wir mal zum Typen im Glas.
What about now?
Even with the Forbidden Zone in ruins and the Renaissance almost stolen, Lenegis is functioning fine. If it needed us before, it doesn't appear to now.
First they lumber you with a position you never asked for, then you're discarded like you're nothing? Who the hell do they think they are?
More importantly, who do they think we are? We might not even factor into their list of concerns.
I just hope everyone on Lenegis is safe.
Worst comes to worst. Lenegis is equipped with a large number of
Nimm mal ganz raus für heute. Ja, alles klar, jetzt weiß ich Bescheid. Danke, dass du dabei warst. Danke für die Bewirtung. Angenehme Nachtruhe. Ja. Start gut. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Ja, es ist auch gleich vorbei. Kurz mal mit Fritz reden. Ja, also für Finale sieht morgen ganz gut aus. Ja. Bis dahin, mach's gut. Ciao. So, suchen wir den nochmal auf hier. Das heißt, wir müssen ja sowieso noch zu dem Planet drüber fliegen. War das hier jetzt? Ah. Ja, du ebenso. Du ebenso. Aber was sie sich dazu alles ausgedacht haben, nur um an die Energie zu kommen, ist schon, ja, über die langen Zeiträume. Das ist schon beachtlich. Was? Ja. Mittlere. So. Da müssen wir hin jetzt. Da ist er. So, und jetzt sprich.
Do you have your answer for me?
We want to ask something first. You're asking us to fight an entire planet. How exactly do you expect us to do that? You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up to it.
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire body. Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated. Therefore, if you destroy the core, the Great Spirit shall become unable to maintain sentience and return to being ordinary astral energy.
And how are we supposed to destroy that core?
By using the Renus Alma.
Der Schlüssel ist die Zerstörung
You will
direkt.
also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tools for suppressing and controlling astral energy. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral spirit within her body, and the
Oh,
Sovereign
wir müssen
shall
die doch
wield the
opfern?
power of the Renus Alma to destroy it.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like what Shion described before.
Yeah, killing herself to take out the thorns with her.
She was actually right all along.
By my calculations, your powers combined should be sufficient to destroy the great astral spirit and disperse its energy widely enough to make it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the Maiden once we manage to beat the great astral spirit?
Any matter contained within the field of destruction shall be erased.
So it really will kill me.
This method is the most simple one available.
Das wird garantiert nicht so funktionieren.
And is therefore our most reliable option.
What are our other options?
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most optimal among them is so clear.
You don't get it. I promised Shion that she wouldn't die, that we'd save the world without needing to sacrifice her. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out the Great Spirit, I want to hear it.
This plan shall lead to the fewest losses in preserving your world. Abandoning it is irrational. It is vital that you proceed with this plan. A part of Rena's great astral spirit already resides within her. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Lenegis in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it now resides in the Maiden.
Which would make Alphen's earlier hypothesis correct.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by
So wurde
the
das also
great
übertragen.
astral spirit to revive itself. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible to fully eradicate the Great Spirit. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile and will only serve to strengthen it.
No.
Wait. Naori said that the Renus Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy, and that the thorns can be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can't the same also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it?
Well, can it?
It is true that the Renus Alma is capable of what you suggest, and could contain the great astral spirit.
Yes!
However, doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony, considering that the Renus Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed. I cannot allow it. Its uncertainty is simply too great.
What does that mean for us if you won't allow it?
Your starship will not be restored, and you will all be unable to leave here.
Why you?
Fine then. I'd rather stay here and rot than do it your way.
Alphen?
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dana's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy it. If you're fine letting that happen, and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We want to stop Dana from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice one of us in the process. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then quit ordering us around and shut up!
Alphen.
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, and Renus Alma are my species' greatest achievement. I I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our demise by its hands.
But what are we supposed to do about the Renis Alma? One of your buddies ran off with it back on Lenegis.
It is likely that the Renis Alma is with the Great Spirit, functioning as a catalyst for it to receive Dana's astral energy.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head straight for the Great Spirit and take it back?
According to my observations, the astral energy is most densely concentrated in the center of Rena, where the Great Spirit's core is located.
So right in the middle of that giant flower, then.
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great astral spirit is already integrated with the planet. What will happen to Rena once it vanishes?
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario, the energy will disperse, and the Great Spirit will likely not reform.
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it, we'll still be in danger?
Likely, the collapse will occur in stages. It is recommended that you all escape before the final stage.
Man, I wish that thing would tell it to us straight for once.
Havrek 35 and the others have gotten used to hypothesizing from afar is all. Fix our starship. We're going to Rena.
Excellent.
But I want to make one thing clear. We're doing this for ourselves, to protect what matters to us. We're not doing it for your sake, or because you told us to. Remember that.
It matters little to me. The end result shall be the same. Repair work on your starship has commenced. You'll have to wait until it's finished.
Man.
Die Wahrheit.
Ask for Havrek 35 to talk like a normal person. I swear I can feel my brain starting.
Ja, wir werden den Kampf zu dem bringen, der es verursacht hat. Dem Geist die Energie abschalten. Plan B. Okay, der chillt jetzt hier ganz entspannt und sieht sein Werk. Seine 3 mächtigsten Errungenschaften von seinem Volk.
Is the Renis Alma really our only hope against the Great Spirit? There has to be another way, right?
Shion's Fire Master Core was able to suppress astral energy to prevent it from gaining sentience, right? Couldn't we make use of that somehow?
I'm not sure. In small doses, maybe. But with the amount of energy we're talking about here.
Back in Calaglia, the Blazing Sword was able to take in a whole spirit vessel's worth of energy. If it has the capacity to manage that, it can do this, right?
Except after it absorbed the energy, it ended up releasing it all moments later, remember? Let's not forget, it nearly killed you. Besides, this is the Great Spirit we're talking about, not a paltry vessel. Even if I could use the Master Core, your body wouldn't be able to take the strain of channeling that much energy.
Havrek 35 didn't mention it, and it did not seem the type to skimp on details. So assuming it's even possible, the chances are slim to none.
You're probably right.
Ja, so sieht's wahrscheinlich aus. Gut, ich werde hier auf jeden Fall nochmal speichern. Stufe 41, okay. Oh, wer ist das? Es wird ein Weilchen dauern, euer Raumschiff vollständig zu reparieren. Ich würde vorschlagen, dass ihr euch bis dahin etwas ausruht. Ja, okay. Wir haben noch den Planeten erreichen. Dualim, wie sieht's aus?
You still thinking about what the scientists told us? About where Renans really come from?
I am, but not for myself.
You're worried about the future of the Renan people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Danans further reason to resent us.
But you still intend to confront this truth head on, don't you?
Well, I did declare that I would live my life for the living, and not the dead. Even as I dream of retirement, I shall remain dedicated to the cause.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too. There was definitely a time when I hated Renans for who they were. I hated them just for being Renan. But you changed that, Dohalim. You gave me an opportunity to see them in a different light. Thanks to your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renans not as slaves, but as equals for the first time in our lives. Of course, I'm sure there were some Renans who still hated us on the inside. But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good, and that was a start. When it comes down to it, Renans are just people. They can be good or bad, just like Danans.
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't it? That we're all people.
Yeah, it is. When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have the chance to come to an understanding. But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you stop thinking of them as people that you can relate to.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers of Renans and Danans alike. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get along.
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, maybe we'll find better luck among their friends. If we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one another as humans, and nothing more? That's the ideal future you hope to see when this is all over?
Yes, I do. I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Though, that said, I would be doing it for the people of the future first and foremost. Do you still plan to return to Lenegis when this is over?
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lenegis proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia, you know.
As I shall ever keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come get me. I'll always be there for you, Doe.
Did you just... Never mind. Thank you, Kisara. I appreciate your patience as I work all this out.
Don't even mention it. And really, when you think about it, now that we know the two of us aren't so different after all, don't you think that brings down a barrier that used to be between us?
You know, I hadn't actually thought of it that way before. But I do like the sound of it.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Schön. Okay, dann fliegen wir beim nächsten Mal.
Hey, why'd you call me here? Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Well, if everything we've heard about the Great Spirit is true, then we're getting close to our final battle. So I wanted to apologize while I can.
Apologize? For what?
I was being real stupid before, about whether Dana's will had been controlling us and all that. I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted was being questioned. So, I'm sorry, Rinwell. Really. I should have kept my mouth shut.
No, Law. Honestly, I think you might have been onto something. Of course you were worried. Who wouldn't be if they found out there might be some invisible force pulling our strings this whole time?
But you really trust Dana's will, don't you? Is it because you can sense it a lot more than the rest of us? Because you can understand it?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. But I think I also want to believe it's good.
Believe?
Remember how I used to really resent coming from a family of mages?
Yeah, of course. Because you were always on the run and had to live in hiding.
When we rescued Zephyr and I finally decided to come along with you all, something changed inside me. It was the first time I felt like my powers had any meaning, even if that meaning was only helping you guys fight. Then, when I felt Dana's will, I was overwhelmed by how vast and warm it was. It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it. It made me believe I had a bigger purpose.
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost need it to be kind.
Yeah.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off bad-mouthing it.
You will?
There's no way for me to know for sure one way or the other, right? But you trust it, Rinwell, and that's enough for me. So I'll trust it because you do.
Remember what I said about neither planet's great spirit reaching us here?
Yeah?
That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena's inside you and everyone else.
You... what?
I sensed it when we first got here. It's a really small amount, so it doesn't feel like it has a will of its own. But I think that's how Dana's energy probably is too.
So you're saying there's a little bit of Dana's will inside each of us? In a way, doesn't that mean we're all Dana's will?
What?
Well, like you said, unless Dana's energy comes together, it has no will. So if we all have a little bit of Dana's astral energy inside us...
Yeah, maybe...
Hefric 35 might know the answer. But, you know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my own. I fight for who I want to fight for. That's who I am now. Who I've become. So thanks, Rinwell, for sharing that with me. To be honest, the only reason I was suspicious of Dana's will, well, I mean, it mostly was... I feel like you and I had grown apart lately, and I was worried it was because...
Huh?
Never mind. Nothing. Just forget about it.
Huh? No, what were you saying?
Saying? I don't remember saying anything.
Now you won't tell me what you were thinking?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Then spit it out already.
Ich sage ja, die passen gut zusammen.
Are you sure you don't want to get some rest?
I can't. I've got too much on my mind. Especially knowing how close our last battle is. How are you doing, Shion?
Same as you, still trying to absorb everything.
Remember when it was so simple? We were only fighting all the lords on Dana? Although that feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Ages and ages ago. Everything that's happened since we first met. So many fights, so much chaos, so many wonderful people.
Mhm.
If I hadn't run into you that day, well, I wouldn't have met all of you. I never would have held the blazing sword or looked for something more. I wouldn't have my memories back. I'd still be a faceless slave, like as not long dead.
Hey, Alphen, I want you to promise me something.
Yeah?
If we can't find the Renis Alma, there's something I want you to do. Like Hevrecht 35 said, the only way we can end the Great Spirit for good is to go after both the main body in Rena and the thorns in me. I need you to promise me, Alphen, that if for some reason we can't get the Renis Alma back...
Nein, das mach ich nicht.
You'll use the blazing sword to destroy the Great Spirit, and me along with it.
Huh?
Kannst
It's
vergessen.
true the blazing sword may not have the strength of the Renis Alma. But it's taken us this far. It's slain lords and beasts. At the very least, it has to be worth a try.
You can't be serious. Have you forgotten everything
Listen,
that we've...
the Great Spirit isn't just our problem. It's a threat to our entire world. Renans and Danans alike. We don't know what's going to happen when we face it, but we need to be prepared for anything. We can't second-guess ourselves when the time comes. I promise you, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm prepared to fight with absolutely everything I've got. But if it comes down to it, I need you to be prepared too.
Okay. But you should know that I'm not going to give up on you, Shion. I'm going to fight this until the very end. I hope you can forgive me for that.
Alphen. Okay, I understand. And I'll forgive you.
Thank you, Shion.
So it's a promise then?
Yeah, it's a promise.
Oh, wow, die hat er noch nie gelächelt so.
I remember how I felt the first time you touched me. My thorns made any contact a mistake no one would ever make twice. After they'd seen what could happen, fear would always linger behind their eyes. In my entire life, I never had someone willingly reach out to me. But when you reached out to me and gently took my hand, you didn't react at all. It was so easy for you. I don't have words for the shock I felt in that moment.
That's because I couldn't feel pain back then.
Even once you could, though, you still chose to keep reaching out to me. And when you did, I felt this warmth that I had never known before.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
But still, I hate having to see you suffer through it every time you do.
You won't have to worry about that for much longer.
Ja, hoffentlich.
You think so?
I do, because Shion,
No. You can tell me once my thorns are gone. Okay?
Haha.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody get enough rest? We ready for this?
Yeah, we should probably get moving.
Agreed. Can't stand around waiting all day.
Our task is relatively straightforward. We need only to send down to Rena, defeat the Great Spirit, and restore stability to both worlds.
We're fighting for a new future for both Dana and Rena.
Right. We've come this far. We will save our worlds. That's a promise.
Then let's go, everybody. We've got one last wall to tear down.
Repairs on your starship are complete. Everything is in working order.
Is that you, Hevrek 35? You can see us from where you are?
I can. I can see anywhere within the bounds of Dig Faisal.
Sounds like someone's a peeping.
Maybe we should give Hevrek 35 a break. It has been stuck in this tiny facility for a very, very long time.
I have unlocked all functions on your starship. You can now make use of
Warp-Antrieb,
its warp drive.
Warp drive? Wait, you mean like what the Red Women used on us? What brought us here?
It's possible that the Red Women may have found a way to activate it on the starship. They are Helganquil after all.
Using the warp drive, you should be able to breach Rena's atmosphere without being detected.
Wait, should?
You'll need to be careful. Due to the force field surrounding Rena, the ship will be unable to go any further than the surface of the planet.
So, once we reach the shell, it appears we'll have to infiltrate the core by foot. Understood.
We gotta go all the way down just walking?
Will all the Helganquil go back to normal once we defeat the Great Spirit? I have a strange feeling we're going to have to fight them before this is all over.
The extinction of my people is inevitable at this stage. As such, it would be illogical to risk the success of the mission in a vain attempt to save my kind.
We understand.
Can't that thing lighten up a bit? Everything it says seems to be about what's illogical.
Well, come on, Doe.
Hold up, did you just...
You heard the lady. Get going.
I have one last question.
What?
As Sovereign, your identification number indicates that you are well past your predicted life expectancy. Similarly, the Maiden lacks any identification number, as her function should have been rendered unnecessary. Despite this, the two of you continue to exist. Why?
Ja gut, bei ihm kann man es erklären, aber bei ihr?
We exist because others have entrusted this to us. Over the years, many people have come together and sworn to see this through to the end.
You mean it is because of multiple chance interactions? The likelihood of such events is statistically improbable. Why have you two continued to persist under these conditions?
It's hard to explain. To be honest, I don't think it's something an observer could understand. All right.
Okay, super. Oh, Akku alle. Ja, Gamerfreunde und Ladies, vielen, vielen Dank für diese Runde, fürs Dabeisein, ja. Für die Bewirtung und das Chatten. Auch auf den Entspannungsrängen im Hintergrund, ja. Und ja, beim nächsten Mal gehen wir auf jeden Fall in die heiße, abschließende, finalisierte Finalphase. Unglaublich. Reise ab in Richtung Rena. Ja, machen wir auf jeden Fall. Wie sieht das aus? 41, 42. Law ist wieder drüber und, und Rinwell auch. Das ist ja echt super. Ah, okay. Mega. Also das war, glaube ich, der aufschlussreichste Abschnitt hier bis jetzt. Wird bestimmt noch was kommen. So das Bonbon. Oh ja, müssen wir das nochmal ein bisschen verarbeiten. Ich glaube, das Fazit wird bei mir dann auch ein bisschen länger als sonst, weil hier gibt es echt viel Stuff. Gut. Auch nochmal den Speicher rein und dann war es das. So. Bleiben wir bei dem Bild. Gut, Game of Thrones Ladies, das war's jetzt. Wir sehen uns bei der nächsten finalen Runde zu Tales of Arise. Und dann ziehen wir dem Geist den Stecker. Bis dahin, danke für den Support. Macht's gut. Bis dahin. Und